Welcome again. It looks like it's a good time to get started. Thank you for a full house this evening. Last week we had a special meeting this week, same thing. So it's so nice to see a full meeting room for our council meeting here for Tuesday, December 5th, here at the Yucca Valley Community Center Yucca Room, and the time is currently 6:05. So roll call, please.
Council members Abel,
Present.
Droz,
Here.
Lombardo,
Here.
Schooler,
Here.
and Mayor Dennison.
Here. Well, thank you. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and ask our Mayor Pro Tem to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing after. We have Pastor Jerry Adams here from the Gateway Assembly of God Church to give our invocation. Thank you.
Place your hand over your heart and repeat after me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Remain standing.
Heavenly Father, as we begin this town council meeting tonight, we take a moment to pause and to ask for you to be with us, to help us, to give us guidance and direction, to do what's right, what's best for our town and its people. Thank you for your blessings and your goodness in our lives. Thank you, Lord, for our council and staff and everyone who helps to make this such a great town, a great community to live in. I pray your blessing upon them. I pray your divine wisdom will be upon them as they lead us. Lord, I ask you for your protection to be upon each of us and to be upon America as we're living in a troubled and dangerous world. Watch over us. Keep us safe, Lord. Especially protect those who protect and serve us. Our military, our armed forces, many of whom are deployed in dangerous places around the world. Protect our first responders, our San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. Thank you for them. Watch over them and keep them safe. Lord, thank you for this wonderful and beautiful time of the year, the holiday season, the Christmas season, in which we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. And it's in your name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Well done.
Thank you, Pastor. Oh, okay. All right, thank you. Hopefully that's a little bit better with the sound. So thank you, Pastor, for leading us in invocation today. And so we have quite a few things today on our presentations and introductions and recognitions. And the number one item that we're going to take off with is our State of the Town address for the year 2023. So I just wanted to say once again, good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us in the Town Council meeting. The presentations that you'll see tonight and also recognitions are just one part of our community that we want to highlight right now. So we appreciate your interest. I'm thinking a lot of you are here for that and also for some of the recognitions too. Tonight we're going to have members and coaches from the Yucca Valley High School Trojans football team and for their special recognition of their season. We've also had the privilege of hearing, or we will, from Assemblyman Greg Wallace. He's joined us here this evening with his staff. And welcome, Greg. Appreciate you showing up this evening. And one thing I'm very proud of is our employees, and we always have been. And tonight we are going to give special recognition to Robert, Rusty, and Rose for their long, successful careers as they retire from the town of Yucca Valley. They were definitely key parts of our community and our family. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get started on the 2023 town address. So in here you might even see your friends, your neighbors. We appreciate you being here for our whole community. There will be colleagues and business owners. So if you see someone, remember that, give a little clap at the end, hopefully. And we're grateful for your interest in our town. And certainly we've always considered ourselves part of the entire Morongo Basin, just not Yucca Valley itself. So we try and get involved and engaged as much as possible everywhere around. This year, our address is going to highlight some of the special characteristics and initiatives that define our town, from basically our public safety that we have, the programs and projects underway that's kind of building our community for the future. And those things are what we drive for every day. We plan well, we do a strategic outreach every year. These planning sessions are built by getting the information from our community. So the things that you'll see being brought forward now are things that we may have been working on for 3+ years to get to this point today. And we're super proud, and we really hope that you enjoy it. I'm going to sit back. There's a brief video message of me introducing, doing an introduction of it, but also what's really important is to look at the crews out there and the work that they do. And there's a lot of back end that happens to make this place such a great community. And the best thing we can see is when you're driving around the community and everything seems to be working, and that's what we're proud of. And when it's not, we'll get someone out there to take care of it. So what we're doing right now is moving on. Can we start the presentation? Oh, lights, perfect. I'm Mayor Rick Dennison, and on behalf of the town of Yucca Valley, we're proud to share exciting accomplishments from the past year and what we're looking forward to in 2024 and beyond. The annual State of the Town address provides an opportunity to reflect upon successes and improve upon our past experiences. Word travels fast that Yucca Valley is the place to be, and as our community grows, we remain steadfast in our commitment to upholding the values we know and love about our community. As you've heard before, Town Council continues to prioritize supporting our public safety team, maintaining and enhancing our infrastructure, and improving our quality of life. It's been an honor to serve our community over the past year. I invite you to join my fellow council members as we share highlights from 2023.
Of the many services provided by the town, public safety remains the Town Council's top priority. Through partnership with the County of San Bernardino, the town is thrilled to have a dedicated quality of life officer who will identify and address important issues affecting our community, including homelessness and community engagement. Public safety also comes at a cost. On Memorial Day, Yucca Valley Town Council and staff held a ceremony to honor fallen Sergeant Dominic Vaca. Joined by his family and San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, we paid tribute to Dominic's public service, now forever enshrined on a dedicated plaque in Remembrance Park. We are indebted to Sergeant Vaca for his sacrificial service to our community. This year, we're excited to introduce the newest Sheriff's Department team member, our own AKC Bloodhound, Najee. Made possible through collaboration between the town, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, and the City of 29 Palms, Najee will search for lost children, missing hikers, and other individuals. Be on the lookout for Najee at community events, working alongside her human partners. We're grateful to the men and women of our Sheriff's Department who keep Yucca Valley safe. Integral to a well-run community is the maintenance and improvement of town infrastructure. In August, we weathered a historic storm, and thankfully, both the public and our Public Works team responded promptly. With ample preparation, damage was limited and recovery swift. The town's beautification program is well underway with the Old Town Beautification and Sustainability Project to provide additional visitor parking and amenities at Elk Trail in 2024. The town continued work on the Aquatics and Recreation Center project, finalizing the building design and construction bid documents ahead of the 2026 anticipated opening. With the support of 3rd District County Supervisor Don Rowe, Town Council selected a design firm for the Senior Center Modernization Project. We're grateful to the county for their financial participation in this effort. The town also completed pedestrian safety projects around our schools and parks. Made possible through state funding, the Onaga Trail and Little League pedestrian improvements provided new sidewalks, pavement, and ADA accessibility. Following a public input survey, Essig Park received upgrades to accommodate our four-legged friends. Recently reopened, this beloved park provides a welcoming gathering spot for the community. Through the town's Measure Y infrastructure program, the annual crack and slurry seal was completed, preserving our roadways for years to come. Paradise Park and Jacobs Park also underwent resurfacing for our basketball and tennis courts. The temporary creation of 4 pickleball courts helped introduce our community to this growing sport. Heading into 2024, the town continues to initiate projects serving our future needs, including LED street lighting conversions, street maintenance, street sign updates, and the Town Hall Consolidation and Public Space Project, bringing all town services under one roof. As we move through our current budget cycle, Town Council continues to emphasize fiscal responsibility in order to safeguard reserves while making prudent investments in public safety, infrastructure, and overall quality of life. The town initiated a new investment portfolio maximizing interest earnings, continued funding critical reserve funds, and strengthened our financial position by reducing various unfunded liabilities. The town's firm financial foundation is the bedrock for continued success in executing our priorities. The Recreation Department hosted various popular community events throughout 2023, including the Summer Concert Series, Tree Lighting Ceremony, 5th Annual Yucca Valley Film Festival, and more. In addition to weekly enrichment classes, the department also created a new pickleball program and a Toddlers and Me class. The town's senior center is livelier than ever, with attendance reaching new highs. With new programs, services, and meals, the center is a hub of activity. With support from our community's talented artists, the town launched a new public art program, which includes selecting an artist for the 2023 Film Festival installation, planning a utility box beautification effort, and issuing a call for public art to be located at the town's prime intersection in front of the Yucca Valley Public Library. Yucca Valley proudly supports local businesses, and this year, the town welcomed a number of newcomers to the community. We have heard the community's desire for additional dining and shopping opportunities and are thrilled to welcome new business partners, including Black Bear Diner, Quick Quack Car Wash, and Chipotle, to name a few.
In 2023, we welcome new employees to the town family. We're thrilled to introduce these team members to our community and look forward to their many contributions towards our visitors, residents, and businesses. 2023 saw the well-deserved retirements of experienced staff members, and congratulations to Stephanie, Robert, Rusty, and Rose as they complete their time with the town of Yucca Valley. Each has made a significant impact, and while they'll be missed, we wish them well in their retirement and thank them for their dedication to Yucca Valley. Everything we've mentioned is a brief snapshot of our daily work to support Yucca Valley. Your voices guide our decisions. Thank you for being engaged in our community and an integral part of what makes Yucca Valley a wonderful place to live. We celebrate Yucca Valley in 2023, and we look forward to serving you in 2024 and beyond. Well, thank you. It's kind of strange to think that we could roll up an entire year in about 5 minutes, but there's a lot of things that weren't as exciting as that. Just a lot of hard work around our community. We've made a lot of improvements to our parks. We've made additional recreational activities for others. You saw something that we're very proud of, which is our partnership with the county and our supervisor, Don Rao, to make improvements to the senior center. So these are things that are used quite a bit in our town and build that sense of community and areas to gather and to socialize and have some good activities that everyone can participate in. I want to thank everybody. We have family here, we have friends here, we have our neighbors here, and that's really what makes a community for me. And I said at our last meeting, we had a full house too, and I didn't see the town here, I saw our community. It wasn't just a bunch of chairs that were filled up, but the community of people that really make our town. And, we say Yucca Valley is our town and our home, and I think most of us believe in that, especially some of you that are newer here and have found Yucca Valley to be a beautiful place to live. So the state of the town, we're very proud that you came here. I'd like to just recognize also all the people that we have on our staff that helps make the day-to-day operations run well, and most certainly the crews out there that are there in the morning. You saw some of the examples of the parks, the roads during emergency times. Last August was mentioned, which I think most people were affected by that in some way. And we work hard to resolve that, and the crews were out almost immediately. We've had improvements and enhancements to our public safety partners. Our San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department is here. You saw Najee, our hound dog, out here. A lot of us have people that are lost and missing, and we have the tools now to help assist in those rescues. So on behalf of the entire town council, I want to wish everyone a happy holiday season for 2023, and just say from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for making our town so beautiful. I guess from this point, we have, what is big? Oh, the team back, okay. All right, thank you for that. Our next item on our agenda, I got to move back a little bit. I was making a few changes. Absolutely.
I just want to say thank you for everything you've done. You're always out there in the community, and you're a great representative of the town. So, I don't know, you're just always there. It's really incredible. So thanks for all you do, and all you have done as mayor, but you will continue to do after also, but thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, I echo that as well, and what a great year. Thank you for the leadership this year. A fantastic job. I thank your wife for being at so many events with you. And as you know, once you're the mayor, you get called to all types of events, so the whole family makes sacrifices. So I appreciate the entire family for serving our community, and wonderful State of the Town address. So thank you again.
Welcome, thank you.
Yeah, I want to say thank you too. You were everywhere, and an outstanding representative for Yucca Valley, and it'll be quite a legacy that you're leaving behind. The year was very busy, full of things, and so we'll look forward to more activity in the future. Hang in there.
Thank you for the comments, I appreciate it.
Okay, I'd like to chime in on that too. Thank you, Rick. You have made a real good effort to be everywhere in this community at all times, and just a great mayor and great leader, and thank you for that leadership.
Well, thank you very much. I have to say to the rest of the council, that's what makes a team, and that's what makes it possible for me to do a lot of these things. I don't do it on my own. They're out there in the community also. I know that for a fact just as much, and I feel sometimes I'm not even out there enough. But I really do enjoy it. I like the sometimes complexity of the problems, but they're all driven, as I said at the very beginning, through our outreach with the community, and we take those ideas at heart and we listen. We've had some that we've responded to very quickly. Others, they're long-term projects, 5 to 10 years down the road to build some of these things. These are just a few of the projects that we've completed in the last few years, but thank you, one and all of you, for such a great team. It's been an honor to be the leader this year.
Thank you.
But the next item, I think, is even a lot more work than anything that I've done in the town, let me tell you. We would like to give recognition to the 2023 Yucca Valley High School football team and what we consider to be a historic season. So we'll go ahead and start that off. Yeah, can we get the team up here and the coaches so everyone can get a look at our team? Following down. I just want to say a couple words quickly. And, you know, your season has been amazing, and it's something historic, as I just said. And one of the things that I really look at was that noisemaker right there, and I'm so glad it's back in Yucca Valley. You know, the Battle of the Bell started.
It works.
And I love the sound. That is the ring of victory. And for us, you know, it started in '68. It was called the Kiwanis Bell, but we affectionately know it as the Battle of the Bell because that's the true part of the thing. And the 29 Palms Wildcats and the Yucca Valley Trojans, they go head to head, and you guys were very clear on your mission this year, and you brought that bell back to our town, and I could not be more proud. And then your season was just more and more, and you kept getting better throughout the season, and it was just amazing. I am older now. My kids are out of high school. I don't get to follow the games as much as I used to when my kids were there. But I know someone here, and I have a Yucca Valley Trojan here, which is Councilmember Abel. And I would like him to talk a little bit about your journey.
Well, thank you. It's quite an honor. Thank you, Mayor, very much. It is so fun to, and such an honor to recognize the Yucca Valley High School Trojans, the entire staff, the administration. Thank you for being here tonight. As you know, if you ever followed the history of CIF championships, tens if not 100,000 people and players and coaches never reach the CIF final game. A lot of people never, ever have the experience that your team had this year, and we want to congratulate you on a great season. Just a few of the accomplishments: undefeated league season, a convincing win and the victory on the Battle of the Bell game, not only winning it for this year's team, but also for last year's team. So congratulations on that. And again, making it through the playoffs in a convincing fashion, dominating each and every school. I know those larger schools that you have to play, we're coming up to Yucca Valley and thinking, okay, we're going to take care of these desert kids. We're going to take care of this small town up here and this small team. We're just going to roll on them because they haven't seen Orange County football. They haven't seen our team. And you guys dominated them. And the respect that you guys got on television, the respect you got from celebrities is just amazing accomplishment. For those who don't know also, Yucca Valley High School went through a year of 4 different football coaches in 4 years. And 4 years ago, we had Coach Johnson, Jeremy Johnson, come. 3 full years of coaching. I don't count the COVID year as a year of coaching because it was only a few games and a couple practices. But 3 full years of coaching, Coach Johnson was able to develop consistency, a new mindset, a work ethic, and the spirit of sportsmanship. I watched your game. I couldn't go to your final game, but I watched you on the plays. I watched you at the playoff games. I saw nothing but sportsmanship that made me extremely proud of you guys. If you were dominating the team or if you just got beat on a play or whatever it was, I saw nothing but great sportsmanship. And that's what people will remember. You are a class team. So I really appreciate that. And Coach Johnson, thank you for changing the entire development of this program, a new mindset, like I said, and we have a mighty Trojan football team. Tonight, Coach Johnson brought the beef. All right, he brought the offensive line, and they are the guardians of football. They are the bulldozers right there. They're the ones that don't get announced on the PA system all that much. And a lot of people watch football, but a lot of people don't know football. I'm telling you, your coaches on the sidelines, your other players, people who really know the game, know it's the offensive line, those linemen, those guys in the trenches, the defensive linemen, those guys in the trenches. Those are the ones that bring championships and the bell to a school. Because again, quarterbacks don't make the plays. They don't have time to throw if the offensive line doesn't do their job. The running back doesn't break for those Division I numbers that everyone loves to see if it's not for that offensive line. So I'm glad that Coach decided and the other coaches decided to bring these guys. And I know there's a lot of nicknames you can have. I mean, I think it was the Washington Redskins were like the Hogs or whatever, you know, their offensive line or whatever. I want to call them, they're the Guardians, the Trojan Guardians, or the Trojan Legion. You know, they're the ones that are the battlers right there. So anyway, I have a few other things to say, but I just wanted to thank you so much. And the mayor's going to now present you with a special recognition. We'd love to get a picture with you guys. So congratulations, Trojan football team.
Well, the Kiwanis, when they started the Kiwanis Bell, you know, they talked about what it meant and what they wanted to do. They wanted to have a wholesome rivalry and sportsmanship, and that was the point of it. And I think Councilmember Abel said it well, that was recognized through your season about the sportsmanship. You can play hard, You can, fight to win, but it's sportsmanlike. And at the end of the day, you shake hands and then you wait for the next battle. So thank you very much. We have a recognition here, and I'm going to read it, and then we'll come up and hopefully we'll get some pictures, and we'll go from there. Yucca Valley High, presented to the Yucca Valley High School Trojan football team in recognition of a historic 2023 football season as a CIF finalist, with the appreciation for the teamwork, sportsmanship, and dedication shown to your school and community. The Yucca Valley Town Council thanks each of the players, coaches, and supporters for bringing a sense of pride and good spirit to Yucca Valley. On this day, Yucca Valley Town Mayor Rick Dennison on the 5th day of December 2023. So thank you very much, guys. Come on up.
Are we going to mess him up if we bring him over here with the logo behind us?
Yeah, and give an
Well,
opportunity
that-
for the coach
Can we do that?
say a few words.
All right.
also.
There's the logo. You guys come on around the table over here.
Yeah, let's get out of the way.
Just watch the cords.
And if you'd like to make a donation to the Booster Club, they'll take pictures with you outside. You're in the middle with the plaques and the bell. The senior, you're senior, right? Here's our senior, our one senior, right, on the O-line? Yeah. Let's hear it for the senior. Yeah. Come on, Jeff, get on this side.
So who's our photographers? Here we go.
All right.
Can you see everyone?
All right, guys, 1, 2, 3. Smile and don't blink, yay, thank you.
And,
Mayor, you can use this if you want to talk.
thank you.
Yeah.
So we got the proclamation that we gave, but also we took the time to get a football, and once again stating our congratulations on an amazing 2023 season. Each of the council members and myself, the mayor, have signed the ball, had a little note on there too, but we want to say thank you very much. It means a great deal of pride to our community. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Each one of you guys, I know you put in the time, you put in the hours, you listened to the coaches, and you made it happen. Can we you want to say a few words about the team and the journey? There you go.
The community's been great to this team. They showed us, there was a whole bunch of people out there on Onaga sending us off for the championship game. It was awesome to see that. And I just want to introduce these guys real quick because they always put me in front of the camera, and it's these guys, you know. I mean, this offensive line that you see is responsible for the record now of over 5,000 yards of offense. And we averaged 50 points in league and 40 points in non-league for the season. And it's because of these guys. I mean, it really is, because if they don't block, it doesn't happen. This is my offensive line coach, Matt Gay. This is Kingston Galario. He's going to be back next year, offensive guard. This is our center, Vincent Bonilla. He's only a sophomore. We got Isaiah Whitley. He's a tackle. He's going to be back. This is Aiden Solis, our only senior. He was a tackle that was a beast. We put him against their defensive ends. This is another guard that's going to be back, Andreas Rodriguez. And this is Simon Zavala, another senior that's on the group here that injured himself actually in that last game. So this other coach here is Kent Weiss. He was my defensive coordinator and great help for the staff. And Chad Beasley couldn't be here. And I have to thank Justin Monaco, our principal. He's been a huge asset in this program. And our athletic director, Adam Wright, has also been huge for this program. So I want to thank you very much for having us, and I appreciate it. And I know it means a lot to these guys to be able to be recognized. And hey, we'll get back there, I promise you.
I shook all their hands earlier, but my hand's still a little sore, so I didn't want to do that again. They were definitely been in the weight room, that's for sure. Did you feel the mitts on those guys?
That's great. Well, it's always uplifting, isn't it?
See, Yucca Valley may be kind of a small town, but we're no small fish when it comes to stuff like this. This is great. So next on our presentation, as I said earlier, we're very privileged to have our Assembly member, Greg Wallace, here this evening. He'd like to give us an update on some of the activities that he's dealing with in the state of California.
Well, good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Thank you for having me here. That's a tough act to follow right there. You know, I played football in high school, and our main accomplishment was we went 5-5 my senior year. So I'm impressed, guys. Congratulations. You know, I was also really excited to get to see the video that you guys put together on the state of the town of Yucca Valley. Unfortunately, I do not quite have as much positive news coming down from Sacramento, but I'm going to share with you a little bit of what we did last year in the legislature. We just got recently out of session for this first year in the 2-year cycle, and then give you guys an update on what I think we're going to see coming in the next legislative session. So as we all know, the budget passed last year. We had a significant deficit, but I think more important to our communities up here in the high desert was the budget trailer language that dealt with the Western Joshua Tree. And I know that was something that, you know, unfortunately was passed and signed into law, and we're going to have to deal with implementation and enforcement. I think there are going to be some opportunities going forward to maybe have some cleanup language put forward. This was not done in the transparent process of going through committees and being debated as a policy bill, which it really should have been. It was thrown in as a budget trailer bill and passed through with limited debate. So we're going to have opportunities, I'm confident, in the future to clean this up a bit. But I did want to read one comment that was written in the analysis for this budget committee trailer bill. And I think it's really important because what we're doing and what Sacramento is trying to do to some of our more rural and our inland communities is make it more difficult to build out here, make it more difficult to develop, and really make it more challenging for our communities to grow and thrive and meet the demand that we're seeing. So I found this quote very interesting. I just wanted to share it with you. Well, the legislature has recently adopted policies to increase housing, particularly infill housing. Encouraging housing development in the desert may exacerbate environmental concerns. Building new housing in the desert would, 1, increase energy demand, especially during the summer, which can increase emissions. 2, increase vehicle miles traveled from long commutes to job centers, thus increasing emissions. And 3, exacerbate water demands by building in an area with little water for irrigation and drinking water, which may harm other endangered species. I have concerns that if we're going to take that approach while also requiring us to meet our RENA numbers, while also being the place where we actually have the land to build, while also being the place where we have the opportunities to build at a more affordable level, that approaches like this on how we treat the environment without taking into human needs into consideration is going to be a big problem going forward. With that being said, I want to go through a few more bills. Obviously, California's got an affordability crisis going on. I think everyone here in my community in the 47th Assembly District, that's our community up here in the Yucca Valley, Joshua Tree area, down in the Coachella Valley, and then west through the Pass area, Banning, Beaumont, Calamasa, Yucaipa. We all want safer streets, better schools, and a more affordable California. I'm committed to continuing to advocate for those things. But my colleagues in the legislature don't always see eye to eye with me on that. So there were a few bills this year that I think were problematic on the affordability side of things. AB 1228, we increased the fast food minimum wage to $20 an hour. Well, we always want to support our workers and see them get paid. Increasing the minimum wage is going to do nothing to address the affordability needs in the state as a whole. The market will adapt, and then we will just see prices go up for everyone. So I think that was a poorly thought out bill. It may have been well-intentioned, but I think the unintended consequences there are something we need to keep an eye on. We saw another bill that increased minimum wage for healthcare facilities, SB 525. We did that without increasing Medi-Cal reimbursement rates. It's going to be a challenge for our healthcare communities, our healthcare facilities, to make up the delta there, and that's just the reality of it. Those are two bills that I think were really concerning. We passed another bill in the legislature, SB 799, which would allow unemployment for striking workers. Thankfully, the governor vetoed this bill, but I believe they'll be back with another attempt at that next year. One of the big problems with that is that, we have a federal reimbursement on our unemployment insurance system that we would no longer be eligible if we were to allow employees to voluntarily stop working and access those benefits. So we're going to keep an eye out for that one next year. I'm not all bad news. I have a couple of good things that happened on the public safety front this year. We had Senate Bill 14. Senate Bill 14 was passed by, or was authored by Senator Shannon Grove. And this is a bill that blew my mind. Actually, I didn't know that we didn't already have this into statute in the state of California. But what SB 14 would do is increase penalties for human trafficking of minors. So it would make it a serious felony, a strikeable offense. That it wasn't already that way is something that I think is a little bit disturbing, but we were able to get that bill passed to the governor's desk and signed into law this year, just to help give law enforcement more tools to go after those that are preying on our youth and our most vulnerable constituents. And another issue that we have in California that we took a few steps at addressing this year is the fentanyl crisis. And we're all familiar with how that, we call it a drug. I call it a poison. It's out there in our streets. It's in our communities. We lose 100 Californians a week to fentanyl. And so we were able to pass and sign into law AB 701, which would basically increase, or it would provide a sentencing enhancement for folks who are knowingly dealing fentanyl at a certain quantity. So we have a lot more work to do in that space, but taking those baby steps this year is really exciting given the history of the last decade where our legislature's gone on public safety, starting to see that pendulum swing back in the right direction, and building up the support for that, I think, is a positive for sure. Also wanted to talk a little bit about a bill that I had that was passed and signed into law, AB 1448. So this bill basically allows local jurisdictions to combat illegal cannabis facilities, and instead of going through a legal process, it allows you to go through more of an administrative process. Now, local jurisdictions were allowed to do this before. The problem that was happening was that the revenue being collected from that was going into the state general fund, so it wasn't appealing to localities to take this approach. We were able to make it so that 50% of those revenues come back into local communities to help encourage local communities to go after these illicit cannabis grows. It is not the answer to the problem, but it is another tool in the toolbox on that front. This next year, what we're going to hear about, and I've heard about this from every community in my district thus far, is insurance. California has insurance problems going on right now, and we weren't able to address that in the last legislative year with, increasing inflation. It's challenging for insurance companies to do business in this state when they're limited to a 7% rate increase every year, and the insurance commissioner doesn't even grant them that, and you've got inflation at 30%. Look, we're all in business to make money here, and when we're not doing something to address that issue in California, insurance companies are leaving the state. So that's something that I know is going to be on the forefront of the legislature's mind next year. I don't know what the solution is going to be, but that's something that we're keeping an eye on because it's just critically important. In California, if we don't have insurance, we can't keep our economy turning. That's going to be a huge one for us to keep an eye on. We've got another legislative fight's going to be around healthcare prices. We're obviously affordability in the state is continuing to be a challenge, and in the medical space, that's a huge one. So there's competing interests there, whether it's single payer or maybe more of a free market approach. I think you guys all know where I'm going to be advocating for, but that's something that we need to keep an eye on as well this year. With that being said, broadly speaking, some of the things that, we're a partisan legislature. We have Republicans and Democrats, but on so many issues, we don't operate that way. We operate as coastal versus inland legislators. And the mayor and I were just talking about this a little bit earlier. But I do want to share with you that the Inland Empire Caucus, Republicans, Democrats, Assembly members, and senators are united in advocating for our fair share of resources. We obviously generate a lot of the revenue in the state, and based on old funding formulas, those dollars find themselves out on the coast, building projects that don't benefit our communities. And so that's something that we're going to continue to advocate for, make sure that we can bring resources back home. And another thing that I actually kind of wanted to hear from you guys on is a lot of the communities in my district that previously received funding for projects, whether that's a aquatic center here in Yucca Valley, parks down in Cathedral City. When those dollars were allocated, prices were a lot lower. We're starting to see the bids come in at a significantly higher number than we had ever anticipated, and wanted to get some feedback from you guys on what we can try and do as a state to help address that, because it's important for us to deliver on those results. We made those promises to our constituents, and we want to see them completed. So with that, would love to answer any questions or hear from the council on what we can do going forward next year.
Well, I think while you're up there, I'll go ahead and ask the public if they have any questions on some of the items you've discussed, and we'll bring it back to the council for discussion. Anyone have any questions for the Assemblyman while we're here? Okay, then I'll bring it back to the council.
Well, I thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. I know your district is rather large, but we don't ever want you to forget about Yucca Valley and the Morongo Basin. The idea of dealing with the insurance issue is a really large problem, as you were mentioning, and the people who are getting really hit, it seems to be the middle class in the last few years getting hit the hardest in a lot of ways. There's some safety net programs for those that are, don't have maybe the resources, and for those that are the affluent, it's a blip on the radar. But for the middle class, with the rising cost of health care, the cost of gasoline, and even just having basic insurance. I know over and over again, another company has pulled out of California. There's no longer writing policies. I'm not sure how these small insurance brokers are even making money, because they can't even sell a product anymore. And that definitely has to be addressed. And again, we're very heavily litigated in California. A lot of lawyers here and a lot of frivolous law cases that come forward that just drive up all kinds of costs. I know tort reform's probably never going to happen to our satisfaction, but looking at all the avenues, not just the being able to adjust the rates of compensation for insurance companies, but also finding ways to keep the costs down for those types of recoveries would be important. But thank you for addressing those. I look forward to hearing what they're going to do about the insurance crisis.
Appreciate that.
Comments?
Sure. Well, thank you, Assemblyman, for the update. Not all good news, like you say, but we appreciate you being here and bringing us up to date. You said you wanted to hear from us with regard to what we can, our input regarding funding shortfalls. I wouldn't want you to leave here thinking that we're okay, on our projects. That we can certainly use whatever help from Sacramento that we can get, particularly on our aquatic center project, but which we're grateful for the support so far. But whatever support in addition to that we can muster up, we're certainly anxious to talk about that. So thank you for the update. Realize that your job is difficult and somewhat frustrating sometimes, but we thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you, sir.
I want to thank you too, Greg, for the update and keeping us abreast of all the things happening up in Sacramento there. I also am concerned about, increasing funding for the aquatics park. It's a project that's been, on our minds for a long time. For me, I think it's been over 15 years that I've been talking, we really got to get a pool that functions well. And I know it's not your position for the fire station, but that's the other thing that we've been pushing for. And the delay in the planning and the acquiring of the land and all just keeps driving up the prices of all those things. And it's a big concern for us. And I think another thing that needs to be addressed is I've heard that there's a push to go to some kind of a mileage tax for gasoline now that electric vehicles are not generating the gas revenues that they want. But it unfairly burdens the rural environment because we drive 30 miles to go to the grocery store sometimes. You know, it's just not right. And we really want you to represent us well, and we know that you have, and we appreciate your effort. I think it's important that Sacramento realizes that it's not all the people living in the city that matter. Us rural people have a lot of needs, and we're at the lower end of the ability to influence them in that way. But with your support and with the strong leadership we've had in our inland empire, I think that we are on the right track at least, but please keep fighting for us out there.
Happy to do it, and I appreciate you bringing that up. The VMT fight will be on the horizon. So.
Is that next year?
I don't know if it's going to be next year or not. I know there's going to be conversations about it, but that seems to come up every year. So
please bend some ears. That's going to be a major disaster for us. Yep. Just like I felt the Joshua Tree thing was too. And any help you can get on that, on the rewrite of that and making the rules a little bit more palatable, it really affects us out here in so many ways. But thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Thanks, Greg. I just wanted to mention the Prop 64, the Aquatic Center, again, like several people have talked about here. And, you know, things have went up quite a bit. So any help you can give us, I mean, keep that in the back of your mind or the front of your mind. That would really help. It's well over 20 million now, and I've said this many times, but Disneyland in 1955, the whole thing was built for 16 million. So we have an aquatic center and it's well over 20 million. But the thing is, you plan on doing it and you get everything set up, and then with inflation and everything, it's just everything's going up. So any help from the state would be helpful. And thank you for all you do.
Yeah, thanks again for joining us today and giving us an update. And that was a good deep dive. I really appreciate your broad understanding of what the things are that challenge our community. You started off with the Western Joshua Tree, and certainly I'll tell you, our community, that is our trademark. While we're called Yucca Valley, we have yuccas, but Joshua trees, it's one of the most prevalent areas in the area for their forests of Joshua trees. So they do become a hindrance to development. And when you're talking about infill housing and housing in general, and development of our infrastructure, road improvements, and larger industrial or commercial areas that we may need in this area. We've had an increase in logistics and traffic in our area because of the slowdowns within the 15 and the 10 freeway. So a lot of the logistics comes through Yucca Valley 62, 247. We're starting to see that. We've seen an increase in vehicular accidents resulting in fatalities that are just north of our town. So we're paying attention to that, and I appreciate that you do also. We spoke a little bit, but I'd like to take a deeper dive in the future. We can get together and talk about these in detail and what we're doing through our town and reaching out to our county partners, and then certainly you as our state partner, and also federal too. All of those things, but I could just echo again on, funding costs, and you mentioned that too. The escalation in the cost of materials and labor based on the thoughts through Prop 68, so the Parks and Water Act, those things that have happened, they kind of got stuck in the mud a little bit, cost overruns, and so we're trying to do the right thing. And so we'll be talking and appreciate your help.
Well, thank you guys for having me here, and appreciate your service to the town. It's an honor to be your voice up in Sacramento and your representative, and look forward to continuing fighting side by side with you in the next year.
All right, let's do it.
Thanks, guys.
We'll be there.
Thank you very much. Well, that was certainly a privilege to have our assemblyman here in Yucca Valley today. So now we're on number 4 of our presentations, and this is one that you heard me talk about at the opening statement before the State of the Town, during the State of the Town. And we have some employees that are moving into the retirement phase, and so tonight's the night to recognize them. So we'll turn it over to staff to start this off.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Staff would like to take a few moments to honor Robert Adams and Rusty Scott and Rose. Shane will take care of Rose, and thank them for 52 years between both of them of service for the town of Yucca Valley. Robert Adams have been your street maintenance supervisor for the last 20 years, and he has a total of 27 years working for the town. Rusty Scott have been as the parks maintenance supervisor for the last 20 years and has 25 total years of service for the town. On behalf of everyone, that is, by the way, some staff member that we have not been born yet when they will start working for the town. On behalf of everyone, we would like to congratulate them on their well-deserved retirement. Their knowledge, experience, and presence will surely be missed. Robert is going to be touring USA, and of course the honey-do list that his wife has for him that haven't been done for a while. Now it's time that he's going to be working on it. Rusty is going to be camping, and he will be riding his new motorcycle that he got and he loved, that he went and tried the other day. So we wish them the best in their new chapter ahead, and they did raise the bar very high for everybody. And that is when we've been for a while trying to recruit for their replacement, and just to congratulate Dave, Joe for them. Dave will be promoted to the street division supervisor. Joe will be promoted to the parks supervisor. We also want to congratulate Caleb and Ron Rice for their promotion to the lead position for the two divisions. Again, congratulations to both of them, and let's have Shane say a couple words about Rose. Sorry, Rose.
Rose, get over here. Get over here.
You thought you could get away.
I know. I'm really going to try hard, but I'm going to have it just in case.
So, Mayor and Council, I want to talk a little bit about Rose Getz this evening. Rose was actually with High Des Kennels before the town took over animal shelter services. The town didn't have an animal shelter at incorporation. We only took on that responsibility when Kay Baker was shutting down the kennel in 2006. That's when we were introduced to Rose. But the community has known Rose at the shelter since 1988. Rose became a town employee in 2006 when we took over the shelter. She started out as an Animal Control Officer 1. She, in 2009, assumed the position of interim animal shelter supervisor. In 2010, she became Animal Care Specialist 1, and in 2013, Rose was promoted to the position of Senior Animal Shelter Specialist, and she's going to hold that position through this Saturday. Rose has made many friends and many memories in the Morongo Basin in her role at both High Desert Kennels and with the town of Yucca Valley. When individuals come to the shelter, when they walk in the door, they say, "Hi, can we talk to Rose?" They know her. She's somewhat famous there. They call on the phone. They don't care who answers the phone. They want to talk to Rose. You saw at the ribbon cutting event for the dog park renovation last week, the relationship that people have with their animals. You saw that with almost everyone that was there. Rose is responsible for helping and establishing those relationships between pets that we adopt at the shelter to those residents, not just in Yucca Valley, but throughout the Morongo Basin. This Saturday, Rose will be working at our shelter for the last time, and this Saturday will be her last day before starting a well-deserved retirement. We want to wish Rose a very heartfelt thank you for all her years she has worked at our shelter and cared for the pets in our community. Rose has shared her future plans, which include relocating to Texas before the end of the year, spending time with her daughters, grandchildren, and just enjoying life. Alex touched on it a little bit, what we have standing up here this evening. Combined between High Des Kennels and her town time with Rusty and Robert, we're saying best of luck to 77 years of experience in providing services to the community that's before the council this evening. We wish them the best, and we want to thank them from the bottom of our hearts for everything they've done for this community. So thank you very much.
Fantastic. Wow.
25 years of nothing but support and praise from the council and management has been a real joy. The staff, the team members that I've worked with all these years has been really good. Thanks.
I want to thank the town for the awesome opportunity to work here. It's been great. It's been a great organization to work for. And like Rusty said, great staff. Everyone that we've worked with in the 27 years have been awesome. Thank you.
I can't talk that fast, but I want to thank the council and the town of Yucca Valley for all their support.
Just pat us on the head and say, good boy. No.
It's really been a pleasure, and I wouldn't have made it where I'm at today without the staff, council, town, for all your support, and I appreciate it.
Enjoy your retirement.
We're going to start off with Rose.
Okay, wait a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
People are a lot weirder than pets, so. Oh, thank you very much. So this is presented to Rose, and this is in recognition of her exceptional service to the town of Yucca Valley for over 17 years, as was mentioned, with sincere appreciation for your dedication, commitment, and professionalism as a valued employee of the town of Yucca Valley. Thank you for your immeasurable contribution to the animal shelter, the organization, and the community, dated the 5th of December, 2023. Thank you. And I have to say, our shelter is loved because of you and the others that you've taught how to do it. It's a great place. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, that's good, right?
Yeah, they got it.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
So I'm going to kind of do it again here.
Yes.
And this one's for Rusty. So, you got a motorcycle, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
You saw it.
I did. Okay, so Rusty, in recognition of his exceptional service to the town of Yucca Valley for 25 years, with sincere appreciation for dedication, commitment, and professionalism as a valued employee to the town of Yucca Valley, thank you for your immeasurable contribution to the Public Works Department and organization and the community, dated the 5th of December, 2023.
Wait, Carol would like to get one.
Hold on. She's sleeping. Let's reframe it. All right, Robert. Get over here. It's your turn. There you go. You hold on to this. Well, I got to read this. Might say something different.
No.
So, Robert, this is in recognition of your exceptional service to the town of Yucca Valley for over 27 years. With sincere appreciation for your dedication, commitment, and professionalism as a valued employee of the town of Yucca Valley. Thank you for your measurable contribution to the Public Works Department, the organization, and the community. Dated the 5th of December, 2023. And I can't thank you enough for always answering the phone when I'd call and you'd fix everything that I found was broken throughout the town, night and day. We'd really appreciate it. I do. 77 years. It's a lot of history, and a lot of great things have happened. So let's bring it to the council now for any comments. Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate Rusty and Robert and Rose, all very dedicated, hardworking, professional people. I had the pleasure of working alongside them for several years, and just found them to be nothing but exceptional employees with a great work ethic and high morale all the time. Just want to congratulate all of you on very successful careers and wish you the best in the future. Robert, I guess we're going to save your seat for you. People don't know this, but Robert has voluntarily showed up to probably more council members than we have, or council meetings than we have. He's just always over there. So that seat over there will be kind of reserved for you in the future if you, whenever you want to come back. So congratulations, all of you.
I want to congratulate all three of you too, Rusty, Rose, and Robert. Exceptional employees. The town really is going to miss you. And I know that you've been prepping your team to take your place, and it's going to be some big shoes to fill for all of you. I remember back in, I think it was 86 or 7 when I got my first animal from the old animal shelter, and it needed a little help, and it looked like now we have a beautiful facility, and Rose, you were immeasurably a part of that. It's a really great partnership between the town and the county, and it's a facility that'll last us way into the future, and it will be a great place for our animals for a long time, but I'm sure they're going to miss you. Your love just poured through that place and was made better for it. Thank you so much. The town has always been a marvelous place for me, and a lot of it is due to the way that Robert and Rusty took care of things. It was always a place I could be proud of when I showed my family and my friends who said, "Why the hell do you live in Yucca Valley?" And then I'd bring them up here and I'd show them, and it was always a great warm spot for me to hear them say, "Wow, it really is pretty nice here." So thank you guys, and thanks to the staff. It's been a wonderful place, and you guys are the big part of it. So thank you so much. And enjoy your retirement. I just recently retired too. It's a weird feeling, but I think you'll get used to it.
All right. So Rusty and Rose, thank you so much. And the Highwayman also. I always call Robert the Highwayman. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna. I hopefully you still attend meetings, Robert, after you retire. But I understand if you don't. But you're too bad you don't live in Yucca Valley, because in the town limits, because then maybe you would run for some kind of office or planning commission or something. But maybe you should move within the town limits. And Rusty, you and Robert, the repairs you do and the stuff you do and the cold and the heat, it's pretty incredible. So I'm always in awe of that. And Rose, the caring of everything you do at the animal shelter is incredible. And I can't believe, I didn't know you were there actually in the old days when, what was her name?
Kay Baker, was
Yeah.
it Baker?
Yeah, Baker, yeah. She raised the whippets, I believe. But yeah, that was really in disrepair, and the new shelter is beautiful, but you've been there the whole time, and you know, my heart goes out to anybody that cares about animals like that, so thank you for all of that, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, what amazing journey that you've all been on, and thank you so much for serving your community so well, being just a great example of what it is to have a love for the community and a hard work ethic. Appreciate it. I'm going to ask Curtis or Shane to order wristbands for the entire staff that say WWRRD, RRD, that says, what would Rusty, Robert, or Rose do? Okay? So when they're out there and they're facing something and they would look at that wrist and say, okay, what would Rusty, what would Robert, what would Rose do? And then we'll be in good shape if they remember that. So thank you very much, and God bless you on your journey. It's another phase, another opportunity for other things. Make the most of it and continue good health. Thank you.
And I'd like to wish all of you the very best retirement. And don't be strangers. I know Robert lives close, Rusty lives close. All of you can come here anytime. You're going to Texas, but one day you can jump in on the meeting and surprise us. Come in virtually. But I know what, if they asked that question from those wristbands, the answer is to do the right thing. Right. And you guys always have. So thank you very much for everything. I appreciate it. So with that, we're going to move on now to some of the business part of it, with looking for the approval of the agenda.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve tonight's agenda as prepared.
We have a motion
Second the motion.
and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Abel,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
Schooler,
Yes.
and Mayor Dennison.
Yes. So the next part brings us to our consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are routine matters or formal documents covering previous town council instruction. Items are enacted in one motion and a second without separate discussion unless a member of the town council or town staff requests dialogue on a specific item at the beginning of the meeting. Requests for public comment on the consent agenda should be filed with the town clerk, and that'll give you an opportunity to speak. Consent agenda consists of items 5 through 9. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak on any of those items? Seeing none. Anyone online? Nothing? Council?
No.
Seeing none, then we'll go ahead and move for approval on that.
I move we approve.
Okay, we have
I'll second that.
a motion and a second. Thank you.
Councilmembers Abel,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Navardo,
Yes.
Schooler,
Yes.
and Mayor Dennison.
Yes. So now, this is our annual town council reorganization. Town of Yucca Valley has a ceremonial mayor, and we go through this process annually for this. So,
Good evening, Mayor. This is an exciting time where we get to select the mayor and mayor pro tem for 2024. So at this moment, I'd like to open up these nominations for mayor for this next year.
Madam Clerk, I'd like to nominate Councilmember Lombardo to serve as mayor for 2024.
and I'll second.
With no further nominations, we'll close those nominations and the roll call. Councilmembers Abel,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Schooler,
Yes.
and Mayor Lombardo.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mayor.
Mayor Lombardo, it'd be appropriate at this time to move forward with nomination for Mayor Pro Tem.
All right, well, I would like to nominate Council Member Droz as Mayor Pro Tem.
I'll second that.
Okay, we'll close those nominations. And I guess what we'll do is have a roll call for both, I guess. So at this time, council members Abel,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Schooler,
Yes.
and Mayor Lombardo.
Yes.
Right, thank you.
Okay.
So at this time, now that we've made the change to the council, and we have a new mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, I'll turn it over to the gavel to you.
Why, thank you. As my first official action, it's my pleasure this evening to recognize our outgoing mayor, Rick Dennison, and thank him for his services as mayor throughout 2023, and what a year it's been. As you saw in the state of the town, there was lots going on. As you know, the mayor serves as the ceremonial leader of our council, and over the past year, Mayor Dennison has served as a great representative of the town of Yucca Valley. It was common to see Mayor Dennison often with his wife Kathy, and at many town events and the ribbon cuttings, and we are so grateful for his service. If you attended any of these events, you would have seen your mayor in action representing the town. His monthly coffee with the mayor, the town's 5K and 10K runs, and other town events, grub stakes days and parade, the town's summer concerts, the town's Christmas tree lighting just last week, the various chamber and charity events, the ribbon cutting events. I saw him and his wife at Snow Day just this last week on Saturday. Good time, even better than the years in the past. And of course, he's been the leader of the town during all of 2023. And I do want to highlight an example of the work that Mayor Dennison has done. One that comes to mind is his recent engagement with the community, with the town's Essig Community Dog and Dog Park rehabilitation. The mayor took the time to meet with constituents and users of the park multiple times to understand their concerns and desires, and to work with his fellow council members to provide the appropriate directions to the town staff, all leading to a successful completion of that amazing facility. And that's just one example of what our mayor does. And that was just not that long ago that you opened up the park. It was like the 16th or so of December. And so it's my pleasure to present to the mayor a small token of our appreciation for dedication and commitment to the Councilman Dennison, as shown over the past year as mayor of the town of Yucca Valley. And now, as our past council members know all too well, the ex-mayor is often referred to as chopped liver, and he has to move to the end of the dais. So thank you, Mayor Dennison. Sure. Oh, okay, yeah. You want a picture up front?
Yeah, we'll let them get a photo. Change it into guard.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Take a break now, or?
We'll go back up there and then
I'll
let you announce that.
Oh, okay.
But I'll say a couple words and then
Okay.
So I just want to make a comment and a couple words, but really it's a blessing, I think, for me and my family to be able to be a participant in our town, and that's how I look at it. It's really everybody that was in the room tonight comes to our meetings, gives us ideas, and we get those. The council, we work with our constituents and get those ideas, and also items of concern. And the best part is we have such a great staff. We have staff that specifically looks out for all of our employees. We have staff that make sure we stay out of trouble legally. We have staff that make sure that we get the projects listed and that we do it in an appropriate timeline. And all those things just don't happen all by themselves. It's just a lot of work. And I don't believe anything that, it wasn't, I didn't do anything. I just like going to the events. And I like to make sure that it's celebrated correctly, or an emergency situation is addressed correctly. I always say the same thing. It's public safety, infrastructure, and then quality of life. I look at everything I do that way. I try to. And it seems like we're able to do a really good balance of all three of those things for our town. And I thank my council members, and thank you, Mayor, for those words, and I appreciate it very much. It's been a good year. So now it's my turn to sit at the end of the dais.
Yep, chopped liver.
So back to you, Mayor.
We're gonna adjourn for 10 minutes. Take your time, say hello to the ex-mayor and thank him for all his hard work, and
Chopped
say
liver.
hello to Rusty and Robert and Rose, and enjoy a little cake, celebrate. We got about 10 minutes.
Mayor alumni, not ex-mayor, mayor alumni.
Oh, and also say hello to the football guys if they're still here. But I think they left. Oh, did we get to it? They moved it all around. Musical chairs.
It's easier for us to switch our names.
Now that would be, that's because you use your brain too much. You're a thinking man. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Before we get too involved, let me just say thank you to whoever picked the cake. That stuff was delicious. Good job. All right. So we're back here for item number 11. It's a public hearing. It's environmental assessment EA 1323 Development Code Amendment. DCA 3-21, temporary special events in single-family resident zoning districts. Planning Commission recommendation to the Town Council, amendments to Section 9.38.020 of Chapter 9.38 of Article 7, temporary special events of Title 9 Yucca Valley Development Code. Can we have staff presentation?
Mayor and Council, this evening, Jared Jerome, the Associate Planner, is going to be giving you the presentation on the recommendation from the Planning Commission. As required by state law, what's before you is an ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Yucca Valley, California, amending Section 9.38.020 of Chapter 9.38 of Article 7, temporary special events of the Yucca Valley Development Code. Just want to mention that the Planning Commission held 4 meetings on this item. Those meetings were held on September 19th, October 10th, October 24th, and November 14th, when the Commission forwarded the recommendation to you. As the Council is aware, land development regulations commonly address about 90% of the circumstances that occur for that particular issue. No zoning ordinance addresses 100% of everything that occurs, and that's why state law created a thing called a variance. So in the Planning Commission's deliberations in forwarding the recommendation to you, they talked about a number of different issues and they deliberated on a number of different issues, such as maximum number of attendees. Should staff be approving permits or should they come before the Planning Commission? Should there be some differentiation based upon parcel size or house size or distance from the neighbor's home? So the Commission went very in-depth into their dialogue, their discussions, and their analysis in order to come up with this recommendation that's before you. Jared's going to walk through the specifics, and following the public hearing, staff would be happy to answer any questions of the council this evening.
Thank you. As Shane mentioned, we have talked about this a substantial amount at Planning Commission now. The recommendation for this item is that the town council finds that the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to section 15061, which states that if an activity is covered by the general rule that CEQA applies only to projects which have the potential for causing a significant effect on the environment and where it can be seen with certainty that there's no possibility that the activity in question may have a significant effect on the environment, the activity is not subject to CEQA, and that the town council adopts ordinance 309 for temporary single-family special events, amending section 9.38.020 of Chapter 9.38 of Article 7, Temporary Special Events of Title 9 Development Code of the Yucca Valley Development Code. The alternative is that the town council may discuss all development issues related to special events in residential zoning districts. So this table, the top part of this table that you see on this slide already exists in our development code. It details currently permittable special events where they can occur, maximum number of guests, et cetera. This section, this slide, begins our changes or recommended changes. So on the left-hand side over here, you'll see the first option is a minor single-family special event. That's intended to be weddings, birthdays, similar types of events, and I'll go into a little more detail about what all of that includes. Where fees are charged to participants or to operators. For this type of permit and for all of the permits, the Planning Commission is the review authority. On minor special events, notice would be given to property owners within 300 feet of the activity, but no public notice would be required. In this next column over here, you'll see land use districts that this applies to. It's Hillside Reserve, Rural Living, RL, and single-family residential RS, so all the typical single-family residential zoning districts. The minimum parcel size to be eligible to get one of these permits is 1 acre. The maximum number of guests is 50 for a minor special event. This does not include staff who would be staffing the event. Maximum number of days per event is 1. So you could have an event on a Saturday, but not on a Saturday and a Sunday, for example. With a minimum 5-day cooling off period between events, so you're not tying event after event after event to each other. The maximum number of events per calendar year is 12, so if you have a minor single-family special event permit, you could have up to 1 per month, basically. The next category that was created is major single-family special events. Major single-family special events are a little bit more intensive, I guess you could say, in that they do require notice in the newspaper. The minimum parcel size is 5 acres, just to have enough room to accommodate a bigger event, basically. The maximum guest number per event increases to 100 for this type of event. Maximum number of days per event is 2, so you could have a Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, for example. And the maximum number of events per calendar year is 26, so every other week potentially, depending on how the events are chained together. And then finally, this last category here is for non-residential structures, for example, like a church that wants to have these type of events. It's not necessarily a single-family dwelling unit, but some other type of structure that is located in a single-family zoning district. Same number of maximum guests at 100. Maximum number of days per event is the same at 2. And then the maximum number of events per calendar year is increased to 39 for that category. This permit would also require public noticing, notice to property owners, and a conditional use permit would be used to process that sort of request. So this slide, I'll try to paraphrase some of these, but these are the standards for a single-family special event. So number one kind of defines what those type of events would be. So weddings, birthdays, baby showers, et cetera. So any other similar event where fees are charged to participants, attendees, guests, hosts, or operators, either directly or indirectly, such as the collection of donations. Temporary single-family special events shall not include the following: concerts, rave, sporting events, or any other event which the Planning Commission deems to be inconsistent with these regulations. Has to occur at a legally established single-family dwelling unit for the minor temporary special event. A temporary single-family special event is valid for a 3-year time period. Multifamily residential structures are not eligible for these types of events. Properties that are 10 acres or greater in size may exceed the maximum number of guests per event by up to 50 guests at the discretion of the Planning Commission. And then parking down there at number 6 is 1 parking stall is required for every 2 guests, and 1 parking stall is required for each employee. Parking stall size, parking lot design, et cetera, shall comply with our parking regulations in Chapter 9.33, and ADA parking would also be required. Number 7, all temporary single-family special events shall comply with Chapter 9.34 performance standards. That's primarily to address noise. Chapter 9.34 sets noise standards for the town, such as stationary noise sources like this type of event. Number 8 limits amplified sound, except for in the case of public address. So if you have someone officiating a wedding, people can hear them, but you're not going to have an amplified band playing at one of these events. 9, health department approvals require the foods being served. Number 10, any temporary structure requires fire approval. 11, fire approval, or all temporary events have to comply with fire standards. 12, sheriff department's approval is required when determined necessary by the director or by the commission. And number 13, single-family special events may exceed the standards presented in the table, provided they're reviewed and approved by the Planning Commission. Again, the recommendation is that the council finds that the project is exempt from CEQA and that the council adopts ordinance number 309. And we can answer any questions following the public hearing.
Just want to note, as the council is moving towards the public hearing this evening, that incorporated into the recommendation before you by the Planning Commission is a degree of flexibility that would allow an applicant that maybe doesn't meet the strict requirements of the code to file for a conditional use permit to go before the commission to exceed standards that are written anywhere within this code. So that flexibility exists. Final staff comment is the commission had a degree of discussion upon how the permitting process should work, who should be the permitting authority, and kind of tried to find that balance between ease of permitting or the simplest permitting process available, as well as providing adequate opportunity for neighbors to be informed, as well as to participate in that decision-making process. And that's a simplified version of the commission's discussion, but that's how the commission arrived at the recommendation before the council this evening. That concludes the staff comments. We'd be happy to answer questions following the public hearing.
Okay, let's open the public hearing. Is there anybody in the public or online that wishes to speak?
Mayor,
Anybody
we
in the
have a request to speak by Peggy Schroeder, followed by Kimberly Melendez.
All right, please come to the podium, state your name, city of residence.
Peggy Schroeder, I live in Pioneer Town.
Pull the mic down, please.
Oh, sorry, I'm short.
That's all right.
Peggy Schroeder, I live in Pioneer Town.
Okay.
First of all, I wanted to thank the Planning Commission and the staff for considering and recommending the non-family resident. And I'd be very thankful if the town council would support their recommendation and we could move forward to the conditional use permit. I wanted to thank the town manager and their staff for helping us through the process and guiding and directing us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else in the public?
Next, we have Kimberly Melendez, and then followed by John Akey.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Melendez, and I've been a resident of Yucca Valley for 20 years. I would like to thank the Planning Council Commission for all the steps they have taken, and the Town Council, I hope they agree. Thank you so much for all you guys' work on getting us where we're at. Thank you.
All right. Next.
John Akey.
State your name and city of residence.
Jonna Key from Pioneer Town. I just wanted to say how appreciative we were to the Planning Commission, the staff of the town of Yucca Valley as well, for their recommendation for getting us where we are, and I hope that the town council can be supportive in their recommendation and move forward for non-conforming structures. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Online, is there anyone?
Yes, Mayor, we have Vicky French. Vicky French, you will have 3 minutes to speak. I will ask you to unmute.
Good evening, Town Council.
Good evening.
I'm Vicky French, the owner of Tumbleweed Sanctuary Garden and Labyrinth. We've owned our home in Pioneer Town since 2012. I want to thank the Planning Commission for their time and thoughtful decision-making regarding non-conforming structures and events. I'm hopeful that the Town Council will agree with their recommendation. We're looking forward to working with the town to obtain a conditional use permit and continuing to build a strong working relationship moving forward. Thank you kindly.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody else?
Yes, Mayor, we have Karen Post online who also wishes to speak. Karen, you will have 3 minutes.
Hello, hi. Can you see me?
Yep.
Okay, great. Hi. I just wanted to say very heartened by the progress that the town is making on this issue. And I know we're not allowed to, you're not allowed this evening to discuss short-term vacation rentals and how the new rules apply to them. I understand that all of this does apply to short-term vacation rentals, but there are specific unique circumstances with regards to STVRs that I want to mention again. And I know I've understood that those will be discussed in January when changes to that ordinance will be considered. But I want to underscore the importance of the uniqueness of STVRs, and that is when they have events, if they will have events that are within their maximum occupancy, say 10, 12, 8, whatever it is, those should not have to, in my opinion, those should not have to have a special permit because they already have a permit. They've been granted a permit and they pay for a permit that has all the rules and regulations that they are subject to. So I believe if they are going to have an event that exceeds their maximum occupancy, that they should have to apply for a permit and pay for that second kind of permit. But if they're within their maximum occupancy, I don't see why they should, and that seems onerous and very burdensome and much too expensive. Let's see, there was another point I wanted to make, and that is also with regards to short-term vacation rentals and low-impact wellness events. Those are either they should not even be considered events, but if they are, it's important to understand that those can happen since it's a short-term vacation rental for 2-3 days or more. And that those should also not be limited in amounts per year, number of events per year, as all that is stipulated within their permits already. I think those are the main things I wanted to express. So thank you for all your work so far, and thanks for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else? Yes. State your name and your city of residence.
Thank you. Clint Stoker, Yucca Valley. And I just wanted to say that as a planning commissioner, this is, for years now, I've been on a commission, and we've moved several items in front of the town council. And this is, as a community, is an ordinance that I feel that we really spent a lot of time working on together as a community. It was in all of our opinions that we discussed kind of afterwards, it was kind of like the model of how an ordinance should be drafted with public input and moving something that was thoughtful forward for your consideration. And we took a lot of public comment for such a small thing in our thought process that we typically don't have anyone other than Robert at our meetings. And it was one of those kind of topics that brought a lot of varied discussion that was very pointed and kind of led us down a unique path. And I think we have something here that will accentuate what we offer and what we can offer to residents to be able to, in essence, monetize their home. But it also took into account some of those existing structures that were originally built for one purpose, that were commercial in nature, but exist in some of our residential zones that they just don't belong and they're non-conforming, and we needed to address those. So the process worked, and I appreciate your guys' input on how we did, and look forward to your guys' recommendations. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Any other people online? No? All right. Well, let's bring it back to the council.
Mayor and council, as you go into your deliberations this evening, staff would just like to make a couple comments. STVR regulations and STVR operations were brought up this evening, and that is not an item that's before the council this evening. We do anticipate coming before the town council at your meeting of January 16th of 2024 as part of the town council directed annual review of STVR regulations. But again, that is not a part of the ordinance that's before you this evening, nor a part of the discussion. The ordinance that has been recommended by the Planning Commission and presented this evening applies to all single-family homes within those single-family residential districts, as well as the non-residential structures within the single-family districts. So STVRs are not being discussed this evening. Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying. Is there any council discussion? Start with Councilman Schooler.
Sure, I'd like to start off by thanking the Planning Commission. I sat in on and observed most of the conversation, the Planning Commission, as they worked their way through this. And I know that it's been tedious and arduous, and appreciate their work and their patience on it. Sometimes we set out to solve a problem and we get kind of tangled up and try and anticipate a lot of other problems and solve those as we go. But I appreciate the work in simplifying the solution here and the work on the recommendation here. A couple of points, maybe questions for clarification. On something like the certified farmers market that's already in place, it says the permit is valid for 1 year, and I guess, and you can have it 2 days a week, so is that 52 events in a year, or is that 104 events in a year if we were to have a farmer's market? I mean, not that it makes any difference right now, I'm just curious.
So the items that are contained within this chapter above, where it starts out with minor single-family special events, that's all within your existing code today. The staff is scheduling to come to the town council in either January or February of next year. The council has requested the opportunity to discuss special events in commercial zones, and those sections going from the certified farmers market through the seasonal holiday sales facilities, as well as anything else additional the council would like to discuss, would be part of that presentation and council dialogue at that time. So that's existing code, and then the single-family residential special events are the new code below that. Specifically to your question, the certified farmers market, it was anticipated, at least at that time, and that part of the ordinance is relatively old, probably in the neighborhood of 15 years old. That was anticipated to be Saturdays and Sundays every weekend.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, on, I guess that's permitted special events with a special event permit on a 5 acres, if they have a 5-acre minimum parcel size, it says maximum number of events would be 26 per year. Just a comment, if you've got 5 acres, it seems to me I'd be okay with 52 if they did that every week. I just kind of think it's almost self-regulating that neighbors would complain, and maybe you're quickly out of business if that's the case. So, but that's just a comment there. I would like to move on and get clarification on what is a non-residential structure or non-conforming structure. Just clarification on that.
So I think one of the good examples mentioned this evening, the Tumbleweed Labyrinth and Sanctuary, which was a former church site, is classified as a non-residential structure. So, and I think that would probably be in our in the town's single-family residential neighborhoods, the most common type of non-residential structure that you would see applying for a permit for these types of activities.
Okay, good, thank you.
Welcome.
And what if no fees are charged for these temporary special events? Does that require a permit at all if no fees are charged to the conductor of the event or the participants?
So, for example, if someone were to have one of these types of events for their own family, where they aren't charging fees, then no, there is no permit required. So families that are doing these things for themselves and they're not renting or charging a fee for the property or collecting donations per se for the use of the property to try and circumvent the permitting requirement, they're not subject to a permit.
Okay, good. And then item number 6, the parking lot standards. It says parking stall size and parking lot design shall comply with standards provided. I'm kind of wondering how I appreciate the flexibility that's built into this, but if I had a special event at a home, how much trouble do I have to go to create parking stalls?
So what this standard establishes is a specific measurement area for the staff and the Planning Commission to review to determine that there's adequate parking on the site. So an applicant would submit their application, they'd have a site plan, they'd show the dimension of the parking area on their site. Staff would look at that in terms of, are there X number of parking spaces that we can measure in here at 9 by 19 feet, that's your parking stall size, to ensure that parking is accommodated on site and not out on the street, which would affect the neighbors. And so it's not, you don't have to stripe parking temporarily. It's just a matter of having that area on your property in order to accommodate that number of vehicles.
Okay, thank you. And I guess one last item. On number 13, if somebody had to get a conditional use permit for their special events, is that one CUP for all events in that 3-year period, or for each event?
Covers all.
All for a 3-year period. Okay, thank you. I support this. I thank you for the flexibility, all the hard work that went into this, and the ability to have Planning Commission discretion on it too. So thank you for that.
Councilmember Abel.
All right. Well, I do have several concerns, real concerns about this. First of all, I have a couple questions first before I get into it. But as far as weekend events and so forth, I understood, I heard that it's something about there had to be a 5-day period in between events and so forth. What if somebody was hosting a weekend yoga retreat or whatever at their home, or they're having a writer's workshop, and they're inviting writers from all over the world to come to their home on their beautiful property and collaborate? Could that one event be lasting 2 or 3 days, or is it a one-day event and then they have to go away?
Do we want to pull the table back up on the chart so we can see how that's laid out? So, Jared, why don't you go ahead and start out here?
Sure. So this is for a minor event. So the minor events are limited to that 1-day time period with the cool down period afterwards. Whereas the major events is 2 days, and the non-conforming with the CUP is also 2 days. So they would be limited to 2 consecutive days for those events. I believe the intention there is that the neighbors aren't dealing with day after day after day of these events directly next door to them.
And then just one final staff comment on that. Item number 13 allows for an individual that may want to exceed those standards. Maybe they're going to have the writers there for more days. Maybe they're going to have the writers there a little bit more frequently. They have the ability to make that as an application from the commission.
All right. The other concern I have is the terminology, minor, single-family, special event. Having 50 people, including employees at a home in Yucca Valley, is not minor. That is nowhere close to minor in my mind. A minor event would be something 20 people or less, has very low impact upon parking, low impact upon vehicles. Basically, you might not even know it's happening. A writer's workshop is going on, or a yoga retreat or whatever. I appreciate all of the Planning Commission's hard work. I think that they need to have another tier. I would say I would call that a medium size single-family special event. The other one, major, that sounds fine to me. I think we need a third category called minor. A minor low-impact event would be, in my mind, 20 or less people. You don't even need to pull a permit for something so small, something that's not going to disturb the neighbors and so forth. I would say you wouldn't even have to pull a permit. If you had to pull a permit, maybe something online that costs $10 and you fill out the form so we know what's going on. But also, I think a little discrepancy is, quote, minor events are 1 day, but a huge event could be 2 days. So it seems like the less impact, the more days you could have versus some major, larger event. So that's a little discrepancy that I'm a little concerned about. The other thing is, I agree, we don't want to over-regulate, as Councilmember Schooler said, but we want to protect our residents. But I would think that if we went to a minor event, no permit needed, under 20 people, and they don't have to pull a permit. If they wanted to do a weekend workshop or whatever, then they're fine. Having this next category is a medium single-family event, I think staff can handle most applications, right? The staff runs into a situation where they're thinking, well, this could be a little bit of a problem, or this is a little bit intense. Doesn't staff have the ability to say we're going to have planning commission approval on something like this? Do you have that discrepancy at the counter?
So the town's development code establishes approval authority for every type of permit. So we would include recommendations to the town council that establish that, and the director always has the authority at for anything that can be approved at the staff level to forward that item to the planning commission. The director always has that ability, as the development code has that within it. I think the real question, as staff views implementation of these types of codes, is where does the council find the balance between an individual permitting process against at what point should the neighbors have the opportunity to be aware of what's occurring and not just occurring at a staff member's desk in the office. And I think that's really for the council to discuss, where is that line in the sand. There is no correct answer on that. It's a local community issue. It's a council policy issue of where you believe the standards should be, of where you want that public participation and where you do not feel it is necessary. There is no right answer. It's a community-based issue.
Can I ask you, is the staff more comfortable with requiring every one of these to go to the planning commission?
So this is something, long-winded answer to your question. I'll try and be brief. This is new in Yucca Valley.
Yes.
This is also attuned to more of a commercial activity, an activity you've seen in your commercial zones than just something you've seen in residential zones. But I'm also going to compartmentalize this. This community has changed. 20 years ago, we were sitting here talking about horses and equestrian zones and corrals and trails. Today, we're talking about tourism and traffic and those types of things. So the community has changed. Planners are always very leery of impact to single-family neighborhoods from non-residential activities. So we're always a little bit leery of staff-level approval of items in residential neighborhoods that maybe should have review. But that's a staff perspective.
Yeah.
The council gets to set the standards on these issues as what you feel is appropriate.
All right. So I have, if with that, I have no problem with allowing what I call a medium special event to have to go before the planning commission and the recommendations of notifying staff. My other concern is, and perhaps somebody could explain this and so forth, but major single-family events, which has a minimum of 5 acres, has a limit of 100 people. But then when we go to special non-residential centers, they can still have 100 people, but it can be on a 1-acre lot. So I'm not sure, and then also the number of events. So like Councilmember Schooler had mentioned, you know, there's 26 for major, but then 39 for non-conforming. So why not just make both of them 39 or some number, because the impact isn't different. It might even be more because it's on a smaller parcel. But do you know, or if you can't answer the question, perhaps Tumbleweed, which is the example you gave, maybe I could find out what their typical, when they had events, what typical numbers were they used to seeing? Is that going to be prohibitive?
So that would probably be a question that maybe the representatives that are here this evening can answer.
Okay.
Staff doesn't have statistical data on attendees at those or any other
Right,
event.
I didn't think so.
But if the mayor so chose to open back up public testimony, the mayor has that discretion.
I would like to open up public testimony so we can get some statistics.
And you're asking about the number of guests?
Yes.
The typical event that was at the Tumbleweed Sanctuary, what were the guest numbers on average, perhaps? I should ask it that
On
way.
an average, I would say between 70 and 100. We did not accept over 100 guests.
So that felt with the fire department or whatever, that was the capacity anyway?
The capacity of the inside building is 125, but then you have 100 guests and you have a few employees and the photographer and yeah. So
Okay. And that particular parcel is how large?
with the building on it is 2.19, I believe, and then there's 3 other parcels attached.
But is it approximately a 2-acre parcel for that one?
2.19, I believe,
Almost
is the
3,
one with the
Okay.
structure on it.
All right. Okay. Thank you. I didn't know if anyone else had a reason why the discrepancy in numbers and the discrepancy in the number of possible staff and employees for a 5-acre versus 100 on a 1-acre, or in your case, it's almost 2 or 3. Anyone else
We're
want to
still
add in?
open in, yeah. Clint?
On the, I think the approach that was taken is what is an acceptable number of attendees an event that is surrounded by other single-family residential homes. So whether that's a church building, and the reason it's a little bit different is because some of the churches are on smaller parcels, but they have larger structures to accommodate more people. So where do you strike that balance between those issues? But the standards, the 100 attendees were established, I think, as an issue of let's try that in terms of, is that an acceptable impact on a single-family residential neighborhood? Why the difference between 26 and 39, I think the concept there is your non-residential structures are probably going to be designed to be more of a commercial center and have more events than somebody's single-family home is. Now, is that actually what's going to happen every time? We don't know till this process starts and we start seeing permits and we start seeing activity. But I think, at least from the staff level, those are the concepts that fell into place.
If I could jump in real quick with tumbleweeds example, just for context. So tumbleweeds conditions, when they're permitted as a church, includes sound barriers to reduce those noise impacts. They had sound deadening hedges that were required, paved parking, et cetera. So things that are not considered at single-family residences that would lower the impact on neighbors.
All right, very good. But they could hold outdoor events, correct, with this process permit?
Yes, that will be a part of the review, whether that review occurs at the staff or the planning commission level.
All right.
We're still in public comment, or public hearing, I'm sorry. Mr. Stoker, did you have something to say too?
It seems like several discussion items are kind of what we were thinking. And the thought process to some of Councilmember Abel's questions regarding a non-conforming structure was just as Shane said, that a lot of these structures that are commercial structures in nature that exist in our residential zones were built to be assembly places. And if you think of any commercial building, they have a larger occupancy, even this room, than any house. Homes were made for a family. A 3-bedroom house might not be able to accommodate 50 guests more than a couple times a month, especially using the facilities that you'd have for restrooms and other types of facilities, whereas an existing church that is no longer a church and that conditional use permit has now changed uses and thus needs to have a new conditional use permit to be able to continue to operate, would kind of have that same types of considerations that those types of buildings would have had as an assembly place in the past. And that's something we wrapped around quite a bit as a commission, and we put a lot of thought into that. The second thing that I think Councilmember Abel brought up was that number of 50 maximum guests for a minor use permit. We wrestled with that number as well. And this was brought up several times from some residents in the sort of Rockreach area to the west of Old Woman Springs Road and to the north of 62 in the boulders, where they felt that even though those are large parcels, sometimes 10 and 15 acres, they were worried that having 50 maximum people would be a problem. However, developing the standards we did and having to have enough parking on site kind of made it to where those homes that maybe have very limited access and are on a very windy dirt road might not have a large enough space to be able to handle a lot of cars. So their maximum number of guests would never be able to even hit 50 if they don't have enough parking to handle those guests. And again, those numbers that we developed were a maximum. So if someone's applying, if you were going to apply to have a minor use permit at your home, and you only wanted to have 20 guests, that would be something that's totally acceptable and within any property owner's right to be able to go anything below that number. And even exceed that number if you had a special circumstance or a special property that could handle it. It would be something that would come before the commission and be looked at on a case-by-case basis. So we tried to leave it open for any different size. We don't really know, and we really looked at a lot of different ordinances, and staff didn't mention it tonight, but we looked at ordinances from several jurisdictions all over Southern California that are also wrestling with similar types of issues and similar types of considerations in their jurisdictions.
Okay, I understand you can't answer as a planning commissioner because you don't represent the entire commission.
I don't.
So as a private citizen, my comment about two-day events, somebody has a minor two-day event, writer's workshop, a yoga retreat or whatever, and then maybe after that having the 5-day break. Do you? And then my other one was events under 20 not even having to pull a permit because it's just such a low impact type situation. I just don't like over-regulation if we can help it. As a private citizen, do you have issues with that or feedback?
I don't. As someone who, lives in a neighborhood myself and as a private citizen who also has short-term vacation rentals, I look at my impact with my neighbors as something very important to me. And the language we have in our ordinances covering myself as a short-term vacation rental owner or myself if I was to choose to apply for one of these permits from my own home, I look at impact to my neighbors as paramount. And for myself, I want to make sure that I am not going to be a burden to my neighbors every single day of the week. It's not a problem here, but some of the lessons we looked at from other communities showed that some of these operators may not be like you and I or anyone else in this room. They may be those types of people who want to just continue to stack events and eventually become a problem for a neighborhood. And we looked at that cooling off period as something important. And I think it's important for me if I had a neighbor that was also looking to do something like that. I wouldn't want to have 25 cars across the street from a house 3, 4, 5 days in a row. Granted, if it's something smaller and they wanted to have more time, we had that flexibility in the code that if I wanted to do that for 5 days with 20 people or 7 days for a week-long writers retreat, I could come before the Planning Commission and ask for that consideration. Yeah. And based on the impact that I was choosing to do, I could have that permit based on my needs, showing that I'm not an impact or not a problem. So.
All right, thank you.
But I thank you guys.
Yeah, as presented, I won't be able to approve this without some type of modification, but otherwise, thank you for the information. I do appreciate the feedback. I'll definitely be listening to my other council members. One of the concerns I had is with our residents is that we don't become large events and have bad or negative impact, but on the other side, we don't have very good alternatives for people to host, anniversary get-together or having family from all over the world or all over the country come and join in for a celebration of 50 years, as a resident. Especially, if they're having to rent somebody's home or somebody has to pull a permit or somebody has a 5-acre parcel. But I would be open to some modifications to this to gain my support, but otherwise I have some concerns.
Okay. Council member Let's go with Dennison, and, yeah, let's go. Councilmember Dennison.
Thank you, Mayor.
Ex-mayor.
Yeah, chopped liver. So,
Chop liver now, yeah.
I've looked it over, and I guess over the last year, or actually a couple of years now, since we started to address some of the concerns of residents surrounding homes and other venues that can be rented for some type of event, whatever it would be, just sit there and read a book or a yoga retreat or book or painting. I haven't received any comments from the public specifically on anything like that, or any comments of disruption in areas. It seems like the numbers look really good in Table 324. I think it's easy to follow and use as a guide, and it flows pretty well. I looked at it and I understood that the director or the planning commission would still be available to look at exceptions to the use permit. So that's an important tool also. Possibly some of the concerns that Councilmember Abel has is that some of those items could still be listed in this form, but as you said, a threshold of a medium ground. If that's something that he needs to feel comfortable with it, I don't believe that would be a lot of work to include a line item in the table to readjust some of the numbers. But as it stands right now, I feel pretty comfortable with it. Everything from item E and all the subsections below it are very clear, and it's bound in public safety. The Sheriff's Department is mentioned in there, our San Mateo County Fire Department, and their regulations as far as capacity are listed in there. And yeah, so that it looks really good to me. I appreciate the table. It just makes it an easy read. I think some of the only thing that would be probably simpler to look at is when you do the opening statement on each of the boxes under the permitted special event with a special event permit, just maybe a clarification of each of those items of what they actually mean as far as their size and what they actually represent. So as a certified farmers market, what does that entail in order to get to the rest of those boxes to be in compliance with the permit? So I go back church tent revivals. I realize these are other things and older things and not so much on what the item is today. But I would just like to see some clarification maybe on some of those terms somewhere, more like an appendix to show what the meanings are. The rest of it, though, the other four columns, I appreciate it. Seems pretty easy to figure out, and that's all I have on that. I don't have any concerns with it as presented by staff.
Mayor Pro Tem Droz.
Yes, I'm really impressed with this. I think it was thorough, and there were many public hearings on the subject. I was concerned about a lot of things when this first started, and I think all my concerns, or most of them, have been alleviated. I feel much better about it. I was concerned about dirt roads. That was one of my issues. But I think just the parking area will probably solve a lot of that, how many people can fit in a house or on a parking area. And I like the limit to how many days they can be and how few are far between or how close together. I do have one question, though. As far as parking in the property, if somebody says they can fit 50 people on a property and it's 5 acres, how do we know they're not just going to have people just park in the desert, or they're not going to get a tractor out there? I mean, would they have to go through Fish and Wildlife for that? Or how do you know they're actually using an area that's already used for parking? We don't want them like creating their property just for an event without a permit.
So an individual under these regulations is going to file an application. With that application is going to be a site plan. It's going to show where that parking area is. Part of staff's initial analysis is actually to pull up Google Earth, Google Maps, and review what that site looks like today. They also do field investigation, site visits, to determine if an individual is going to need to do some grading. There are standard processes for that. standard processes for native plants, and there's standard state permits for western Joshua trees if they have to relocate western Joshua trees. So all the procedures are in place to address those issues should they occur for an individual application.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think it's not going to be perfect, I'm sure. I'm sure we'll find things that don't work out perfectly, and I'm sure we can revisit it, but I think this is a good start, so I will be in favor of this.
Very good. I think it was thoroughly thought out. Excuse me. I think the Planning Commission did a great job on thinking through this and accommodating a variety of different options and ways of handling it, the size of the property being important, and the number of people and the impact on the residences surrounding it. And I like that they allowed for variance and changes to the limits and numbers if the circumstances required it once it was reviewed. I think that's important to have some flexibility. And because this really does address new ways of using residential properties in our environment here, and it's not been done before, I like the idea that it's flexible and can be adapted if we find that we've made a mistake in the size of the property or the number of people or the number of days that it's permitted to be used. And those things can be relatively easily changed in the code here so that it doesn't require a major event, replanning, all that sort of stuff, rezoning, those kind of things. And it can be addressed a little more easily. I'm in favor of it. I think that it's been thought through pretty well. I do think that we should discuss a little bit, maybe if we can nail down some of the objections that Council Member Abel might be willing to compromise on, or something that we can come to a more unanimous conclusion. Councilman Schooler.
Yeah, question for staff. Would it be that cumbersome or difficult to incorporate another level of permitting, like small, medium, and large, or micro events that are up to 20 people that would be able to happen with either no permit or with like Councilmember Abel said, an online permit or a one-day stop in the planning department and get it taken care of permit, something simple at that level, because that does seem, we know it's pretty. You start adding up people, 20 people, you get to pretty easily, and I'm kind of liking that idea of small events being taken care of in a less cumbersome way like that.
Do you think it's important for the surrounding neighbors to know that there's an event or not? Or are you saying that 20 people is not sufficient enough of an impact and can probably be handled very easily with that be 10 parking spaces?
I think that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So in answer to Councilmember Schooler's question, if staff understands correctly, to create 3 tiers instead of 2 tiers, maybe there's an exemption language for the micro, the small operation. Staff does not see that as a significant revision to the ordinance, but it is a structural change to what you have before you. So if the council provides that direction this evening, we'd recommend that you continue this matter over to your January 16th meeting. That gives staff time to make the revisions to the code, structure it, review it, edit, and then bring it back to the council for your final review and consideration for adoption at that time.
Okay. So
I would support that.
And I would go ahead and help with Councilmember Abel's recommendation. I'll support also.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so I think you have direction then.
So the recommended action would be that the council continues this matter. You've held your state mandated public hearing, so you have no requirement to continue the public hearing. If you want to take additional public hearing testimony at your next meeting, you would technically continue the public hearing, but you're not required to do that. You can just continue this matter. It would only come back to the town council for your dialogue and your final action. So that's an option before the council if you want to give more opportunity for public testimony.
I just want to say one thing. Maybe I'm not clear on this. I'm agreeing to something I'm not clear on. So if somebody has a quinceañera or a baptism and they have 30 people in their home, they would have to go through this whole process?
It's just family. It's just a family event.
So
Is that what you're describing?
Yes.
No, they do not have to go through this
Family events
process.
or not.
So I don't know why we need the smaller event, I guess.
I think
Only if they're
the,
charging for it.
I think that's right, there's charging for it. The public testimony that both the Planning Commission and the council has heard, I think was primarily from one individual who runs a yoga retreat, and that individual has classified their operation as a low-impact, small number. You also had Councilmember Abel this evening talking about a writers group. I think the theory there is that the writers don't make any noise, and they're all quiet, and they have pocket protectors like planners and those types of things. So in answer to your question, family events do not fall into this, and we had that dialogue extensively at the commission level. If your daughter, your stepdaughter, your stepson, your niece, your nephews are getting married at your house, and you have a bunch of family members over, this permit requirement does not apply to you.
It's only for those
Thank
that
you.
are
The
having paid
commercial use of their land, yes, sir.
commercial use.
So the recommended action would be to continue this matter to the meeting of January 16th, 2024.
And the safest route would be to continue the public hearing, correct?
That
Yeah.
allows for the most public participation in the process.
So I currently haven't closed the public hearing. We had last heard from, I leave it open then? I do not close it at this time. We continue it
So
on.
just clarify for the record that the public hearing is open and being continued to the meeting of January 16th, 2024.
Okay.
Do we need a recommendation in a second?
Yes, sir, and a vote.
I move that we continue the public hearing on this and bring it back to a future council
On the
meeting.
16th of January.
I recommend you include the date of January 16th.
Okay. That would be continued to January 16th.
Do I have a second?
Dennison will second.
Council members Abel,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Droz, Schooler,
Yes.
and Mayor Lombardo.
Yes. All right, we're on to item 12. Let's look at that. This is the Town Council Public Agency Board Committee Liaison Assignments. And
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item is probably going to be your quickest of the evening.
hopefully.
So the staff report here is just to give you the opportunity to review any representation that any of you are on, your regional boards or ad hoc committees. If you'd like any changes or any updates, now would be a good opportunity to do so. So the recommended action is to review and select any representatives to various public agency boards and direct the town clerk to notify those agencies of any changes in representation. That concludes the staff report.
Thank you. Is there any comment from the public? Anybody wish to comment on the assignments? Okay, anybody online? No. So council discussion,
I'm happy with my assignments.
Councilman Schooler.
I don't have any changes to recommend. However, if there was a vacancy, I would consider it in one of the others.
And Mayor, I'm comfortable with the boards and being the representative for the programs that I'm on now.
And I'm very happy with mine.
All right, so it looks like we're going to make this the quickest one so far.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, item number 13, Town Council Resolution for Commercial Design Guidelines amendment, branding, mascots, and statues.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Evan Willoughby will be providing the council with the staff presentation this evening. Again, this matter was forwarded to the council by the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission reviewed this matter at its meetings of September 19th, October 10th, and October 24th. Planning Commission adopted a resolution and forwarded the recommendation to the council on this matter, and a copy of that resolution is included in the packet. As Evan presents the recommendation to you, I do want to point out, similar to the prior item under your public hearing, the Planning Commission included what I would classify as significant flexibility within the standards for branding mascots and statues. And I just want to highlight some of the language. Evan's going to just hit on the specifics. But for example, mascots and statues shall be located near main entrance areas and shall not be located in close proximity to. So you hear terms like near, close proximity. Those terms give the Planning Commission flexibility on each application that comes before them as to how they view and act upon those applications. Mascots and statues shall be designed to be a minor focal point feature located in close proximity to. Again, flexibility. It's providing guidance. It's providing guidance not just to the applicants, but it's providing guidance to the staff and the Planning Commission as well as to how they're trying to incorporate these types of features into our commercial corridor, which is our front door, the town's front door. So with that, again, Planning Commission included flexibility. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Evan for his presentation.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The recommendation tonight is that the Town Council finds the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to Section 15061, which states that if an activity is covered by the general rule that CEQA applies only to projects which have the potential for causing a significant effect on the environment, and where it can be seen with certainty that there is no possibility that the activity in question may have a significant effect on the environment, the activity is not subject to CEQA, and adopts the resolution amending the Town of Yucca Valley Commercial Design Guidelines. The alternative recommendation that the Town Council may discuss alternative standards or modifications to the language as deemed necessary. This next slide details the proposed changes. Just as some very brief background, our commercial design guidelines apply to both new commercial and industrial projects and renovations to existing commercial industrial buildings. They emphasize both creativity and flexibility while also addressing quality of design and compatibility with surroundings. So these proposed regulations, which I will read, state branding mascots and business product-oriented statues, mascots, and statues may be approved by the Planning Commission for new commercial and industrial projects, as well as for existing commercial and industrially zoning buildings. Mascots and statues shall be located near main entrance areas and shall not be located in close proximity to public roadways. Mascots and statues are not intended to function as signage for site identification and location. Mascots and statues shall be designed to be a minor focal point feature located in close proximity to the main entrance to the buildings. Standards include mascots and statues are encouraged to not exceed 30% of primary structure height and are encouraged to not exceed 3 feet in width. A maximum of 1 mascot and/or statue is allowed per building frontage for a commercial or industrial development project. Additional mascots and/or statues are encouraged to be located in side yards. Mascots and statues shall be installed in a permanent location. Mascots and statues shall not be temporary structures or located on a temporary structure such as a trailer. Mascots and statues shall blend with the colors of the primary structure and shall be placed in landscape planter areas whenever possible. Colors consistent with branding colors are also acceptable. Mascots and statues shall not be placed in parking stalls even when excess parking on the project site is available. Mascots and statues shall not be placed in close proximity to monument or freestanding signs, but shall be integrated into site landscaping and in close proximity to building entrances. Mascots and statues are encouraged to be placed in proximity to benches, shade structures, and other architectural elements so that the mascots and statues should blend together with other features of site development. Internal lighting of mascots and statues is discouraged. Passive landscape lighting is acceptable. Mascots and statues located in proximity to signs shall be considered part of the sign. So these regulations provide flexibility while ensuring consistency in application of our standards. The recommendation, which has been read into the record, is that the council finds the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act and adopts the resolution amending the Town of Yucca Valley Commercial Design Guidelines with the alternative that the town council may discuss alternative standards or modifications to the language as deemed necessary. Staff is available for questions following public comment.
Is there anybody in the public that wishes to comment on the design ordinance? Changes? No? Anybody online? No? We wore them out. Okay. Go ahead, Councilman Dennison.
Thank you, Evan. That very clear, and I like the changes that have been made. I do like the word, as staff had mentioned a little bit, it says encouraged. Most of the time, there are a few shalls in there, and they're clearly placed, but I think it gives the planning and commission the ability to work with the design of the building and make it appropriate. When you talk about height and locations, it's encouraged to do that, and there were a few things that were discouraged in the comments in here too, or in the document. So I think that with that, it allows us to have the flexibility to make sure that it's aesthetic for the surrounding businesses and the community as a whole. So thank you for the presentation. I like it.
Councilman, Mayor Pro Tem Droz. Get used to it.
Okay. Again, the Planning Commission did an incredible job on this, and I like that the wording is very flexible. And 9 months ago, this seemed like a huge issue, and now it's kind of still mentioned. I hear people talk about it, but there's no one here to really give their input, but from the public. But I think it's wonderful. This is finally being solved, and it's flexible. So good job, Planning Commission.
Councilmember Schooler.
Same. I appreciate the work from staff's part and the Planning Commission. Again, I've watched the meetings and attended the meetings of the Planning Commission as they've gone through this, so it looks fairly simple at this point, but mainly the flexibility of the Planning Commission to deal with the various requests that are going to come across the table. It's not one of those one-size-fits-all things, so I do like the flexibility. I think that's key, and totally support this.
Great. Councilmember Abel.
No, I had nothing to add. I think Shane really did do a great job in presenting what could happen if we just didn't have any regulations with all those visuals. Yeah, I appreciate the Planning Commission direction on this, and I support it as well.
Okay. Yeah, that was the highlight of the whole thing, was the slideshow that Shane presented to the council. I also agree that the Planning Commission has done an excellent job and getting this through, and I think that it'll be well received. And there's flexibility, which is important. So I think we should have a motion.
Mayor, I'll move the item.
Dennison will second.
Okay, very good.
Councilmembers Abel,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Schooler,
Yes.
and Mayor Lombardo.
Yes. All right, that brings us to future agenda items. Is there anything from the council on the future agenda items?
I don't have an agenda item per se, but I have a question for the rest of the council. This is regarding our emails. Is anyone else having problems, like if you have a laptop and you have a desktop and then your phone, and the two-party authentication, all of that, you know, it's like, it seems like it's getting really complicated. I don't know if there's a way to like maybe simplify it, like at the college, when you log on, after you log in somewhere else, they call you and you have to just punch your code in your phone. And now you have to download the app and you have 3 different devices and it's really complicated. So I don't know is anybody else having that problem? Is it worth looking into if Southwest can simplify it a little bit?
We're always trying to identify easy ways to do this. And your town manager, probably at the chagrin of all of our contractors, were very disappointed in how long it took us to get to two-factor authentication for that very same reason. But the reality is you have bad actors out there. And I'm going to point to Sergeant Scalise, and he can give you firsthand knowledge of what happens when your system gets hacked. So what we are willing to do, though, is to meet with you, make sure that you have the clearest instructions. I have to do two-factor authentication, and it's really not that bad. So if it is something that's causing problems, we're happy to take a look at it and try and work through those issues. But if anything, security is only going to get tighter, not looser. So it's the world we live in. I'm sorry.
The QR code on the phone and all that. No, I know how to do it. It's how often it is and how long it takes. But okay, thank you.
Well, thank you for the explanation. Now I understand its importance. I always wondered who wanted to hack my emails. Okay. Anything else? No? Okay. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to comment on any items here? The town council takes this time to consider your comments on items of concern which are not on the public agenda. When you are called to speak, please state your name and community of residence. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Inappropriate behavior which disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting will result in the forfeiture of your public comment privilege. The town council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not on the printed agenda. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak?
Thank you, Mayor. We have a request to speak by Jerry Merrick.
Jerry.
Cool. My name is Jerry Merrick. I was here last...
Make sure your mic is close. There we go.
My name is Jerry Merrick.
Oh, just got to push the button, make it work. There you go.
Hello?
Yep, you got it now.
Hi. My name is Jerry Merrick. I was here last week to talk to you about the roads, the access to our neighborhood. I also emailed you all a discussion of that, probably about as good as I could. I'm here tonight to talk to you about my interactions with the Department of Planning and Public Safety. Like I said last time, I contacted them 3 times about our roads and specifically asked to be called back, never heard a word. I went in a 4th time and complained. A week after I complained, I got a citation for building car pits without a building permit. So at first I was ignored, and then when I complained, they weaponized their jobs to be vindictive against somebody who came in and complained. The carports were there for 2 years, almost 2 years, not quite, but almost 2 years before that, and it didn't bother them then. Also, I have a junkyard next door to me. There's 12 cars that are junked, just sitting on the property. There's a half dozen shacks that have been built around the property, some of them on the same type easements that they want me to take my carports off of, and they haven't harassed them at all. Well, fast forward, I live in Idaho about half the year, so I don't always get my mail and communicate on a timely manner. I've got a couple of citations because of the carports that they've cited me for, and talking with, I believe it's Yolanda, she said we won't follow up on these citations because you're in here working with us and trying to take care of it. 3 weeks, or two or 3 weeks after I came and talked to you last month, I received a bill for $1,600 for those citations. Again, weaponizing their jobs for somebody who's complaining. I'm sorry. I don't think that's the way a government office should run. I apologize for being here. I don't want to be here, but I don't know where else to turn. I'm frustrated and I need your help. At this point, I just want to be left alone. I really do. I'll do what I have to do with my carports. I've already emailed you all about the road situation, and I don't know what else to do. I had actual speech here written. I'm not good at that, but yeah, like I say, I'm up to here with it. Every time I talk to their department, it's a little more money. Thank you. 3 minutes. I'll be back next meeting. Appreciate your consideration.
Thank you for your comments. We can sense your level of frustration.
Not a little.
Is there anybody else wishing to comment? Anybody online? Nope. Well then, are there staff reports and comments?
Thank you, Mayor. Council, we'll have a couple updates for you. I'm going to have Sergeant Scalise talk in a minute if he has any updates. But before I do that, Deborah, you want to give a quick update on point-in-time count and what we're looking for?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I will make this quick. We have the date for the next point-in-time count, which will be on January 25th, 2024. We are looking for volunteers. So I have left some flyers up front, and also it's going to be posted, I believe, out on our social media platforms. It's a very easy, speaking of QR codes, just take a snapshot of that and register that way. So we are looking for as many people as we can get. So thank you.
Thanks, Deborah. Sergeant Scalise, welcome. Glad to have you here tonight.
Thank you for having me. Just 2 quick points. As we're all aware that we're getting into the holiday season, so just some points of safety for the community and for the individuals as we are traveling through our community, doing our shopping. Just remember personal and vehicle safety. We're seeing an uptick in some thefts from vehicles because people see packages that they've been doing some Christmas shopping with. So just keep that in the back of your mind and share that with the community. Second item is that historically, our traffic enforcement is going to start picking up at this time. We have some grant monies through the Office of Traffic Safety, OTS, and during this Christmas season, we generally upstaff our traffic enforcement units for the area just to make travel during the holiday seasons a little bit safer.
All right.
Other than that, thank you for having me.
Oh, we thank you for your efforts.
Terrific. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Alex or Sue, you have anything today?
Just one more thing, that is congratulations to Robert, Rusty, and Rose for their retirement. That's it.
We're at the tail end of our holiday celebrations. We did a beautiful tree lighting ceremony, and I got to hang out with Najee, the bloodhound, so that was a lot of fun. And then this last weekend, we had our snow play day, Santa visits, and craft fair. And so bought some beautiful gifts for my family. And we had in the neighborhood of 700 wristbands for the snow. And another 600 kids came through the High Desert Nature Museum to sit with Santa. So some good numbers there, a lot of great shopping going on. Coming up this weekend is of course, the Festival of Lights Parade. So that's on the 9th at 5:30 on Santa Fe between Deer and Inca. So the Youth Commission will have a float out there and be accompanied by town staff and whoever else wants to join us from the town. And then also the Senior Club is hosting a dinner dance at the Senior Center on Saturday at 5:30. So they're hosting a little event there as well. And then lastly, on the 13th, the Senior Center will host their holiday party for Christmas before the holidays. And that's it.
I have 2 questions. The light parade, is that starts at 5:30 or is that like set up time? I think it
No,
starts
that's
later.
the 5:30 is the start time.
Oh, okay. And do you happen to know, like with the snow play day, I saw a lot of people there. That was wonderful. Like, what communities, where people came from? Were there people from Desert Hot Springs at all, or 29 Palms, or do you happen to have that information?
We don't have their residency because we don't require them, we require them to sign in for a wristband, but we don't require registration. It's a very large event, so it would be pretty difficult to register all the participants. But yeah, most of our clientele, as far as programming-wise, is town of Yucca Valley, and then about 30 to 40% non-resident. So, mostly Joshua Tree, Morongo Valley, Landers area, and then some 29.
Shane, you have anything to say?
Mayor and Council, just a few comments this evening. The presentation on statues that was referenced tonight, if you had the opportunity twice in the last approximate 10 days, you may have seen a 25-foot inflatable yellow duck along Highway 62 corresponding to new business open. We love to see new business build and open in Yucca Valley, but Highway 62 is our front door, and I'm not sure that 25-foot tall inflatable ducks are copacetic along our front door. I want to recognize Jared and Evan this evening for great presentations. It's good to start seeing the younger generation get here, making presentations to the town council, not only presenting, but listening to the council's dialogue and the things that you have to consider so that they have that in their minds when they're working on future policy items that will come before the town council. Chipotle, as you've seen that project develop along the highway, and speaking with the owner a week or two ago, is hoping to see that open no later than December 12th. The contractor's going to have to push it to make it to that date. They still have quite a bit of work to do, but they're hoping to be open by that date. As of today, there are 101 available STVR permits. The Planning Commission will be setting the annual cap for permits at their meeting of January 9th, 2024, and then the council will be discussing any changes to the STVR ordinance at your meeting of January 16th. The Planning Commission is holding a special meeting on December 20th to wrap up any last-minute native plant ground disturbing activities are coming in. They'll also be hearing on a 5-unit multi-family project. There is no Planning Commission meeting on Tuesday, December 26th. Final comment, there were suggestions that maybe Robert Adams should continue attending town council meetings after retirement. If I see Robert attending a council meeting after retirement, I'm going to email him the name of a psychiatrist to go see to make sure that he enjoys his retirement. Those are my comments this evening, Mayor and Council.
Thank you, Shane. I appreciate that. Thank you to the council for your participation in our holiday events. I saw a number of you at different events throughout the last couple of weeks, and that's great to see. It's great support for the town events and for our residents here. As part of the kind of outgoing recognitions we had for Robert, Rusty, and Rose, we had an opportunity to meet internally with a little barbecue. We were nice to them. We didn't even roast them. We could have roasted them pretty well. But what we did spend a little bit of time talking about was the example that these experienced employees provided to not only the residents for the town, but also to the new employees that we have coming in. And just what a path they have identified and moved forward. And Alex touched on some of the transition staffing plans and changes that we've already implemented. And they've had a mentor now to look at and understand what dedication means to the town. And so we're very, very grateful to all three of them and wish them the best. Lastly, Councilmember Dennison, on behalf of the town staff, thank you for your efforts as mayor last year. It was a pleasure to work for you and with you, and appreciate all of the support that you gave to staff. And Mayor Lombardo, we look forward to doing the same with you. So that's it. Thank you.
All righty. Staff comments. Councilmember Abel, is there anything you have to say?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to thank the snow removal crew. They always work hard in December, keeping our snow off of the parking lots and so forth. But it was a bigger, better, and greater event. My grandson participated and had a blast, and it would look like the way it was set up was very, very enjoyable for everyone. So it was great to see that many people enjoying an event. Also, the holiday tree lighting was a fantastic event and so forth. And we continue to look at ways we can continue to improve it or make it a better experience. But it's been fantastic. And I remember back in the days of our sad Charlie Brown tree that we would light up here. My wife was so embarrassed to go to that with that tree lighting ceremony. And thanks to Curtis and staff for making a very beautiful tree that we can all light and everyone can enjoy it for a long time on the main highway. So thank you for that. First of all, I'd like to say in no ways do I discard the hard work of our Planning Commission. I appreciate all their hard work in going through 4 different meetings to try to get to a consensus, which they obviously did. I appreciate Councilmember Schooler and the rest of the council allowing me to take a little bit closer look at it and possibly adding a third category. We'll see how that works out, but I do appreciate it. And I want the applicants to know that although I have reluctance about events in residential areas, I do think Planning Commission found a route that could be very agreeable and also have very little impact. So I think we're moving in the right direction. I don't want you to think that there's any real major issues with that. Again, the dirt road situation. First of all, I want to appreciate the gentleman sitting through an entire long council meeting to speak for 3 minutes and to share his concerns. I've sat in those chairs before. It's not fun. I appreciate you going through it. And I'm sorry you're having those concerns, but hopefully we can finally come to a resolution that you can be happy with. As far as dirt roads, I've continued to get emails from people in my district complaining or concerned about access on their dirt roads and the condition of the dirt roads. And this is what I responded back. I said, I'm pleased to inform you that the council in the latest strategic planning session listed dirt road maintenance as an area of concern and possible future budgeting. I will suggest to the council tonight and staff that we start evaluating those roads needing our assistance and gathering traffic counts to help us determine which roads are most highly traveled. And then I went on to explain that my dirt road is passable, but only because of the efforts of 2 different people who own tractors that continue to go out there after every rainstorm and make it passable. Because if they didn't do that, I don't know what kind of vehicle I'd have to purchase to be able to get home. So again, I think I know that it's not the highest priority, but it is a priority. I'd like to start the fact gathering information now with traffic counts and evaluating which roads can we begin to look at. That would be my suggestion. And I promised my constituents that I would bring it up at the council meeting tonight. So thank you again. Happy holidays to everyone. Happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate Hanukkah. Be safe. Thank you to our Sheriff's Department for continuing to be out there for us and enforcing a safe environment. This is the wonderful community because of your efforts, and also those first responders that have to go out at all ungodly hours of the night and day to go out and help us. So I thank everyone for that, and you're definitely in my prayers, and I definitely want to thank you again.
Councilmember Schooler.
Yeah, again, congratulations, Mayor Lombardo and Mayor Pro Tem Droz on your selection. And thank you to Councilmember Dennison as you rejoin the ranks of the chopped liver. Thank you for your leadership again. Thank you to Rusty and Robert and Rose. You know, it seems like it's been kind of a countdown over the last 2 or 3 years, like, oh my gosh, Rusty and Robert are going to be leaving. And so here we are, we're at that point, but I know we have capable people to come in behind them, and I'm grateful for that and for their work. Great job, Sue, and everybody on the Snow Play Day, the craft fair, all of the events, the tree lighting. I think that just makes us feel like community, and I appreciate all the effort on that. And the staff is awesome. I don't know where you find them, but they're very hospitable young people that are picking up the mantle on that. Grateful to Assemblyman Wallace for coming and visiting with us today, and hope we can see more of him. And then I wanted to, I guess we should have done this, but maybe we can reach out to the Yucca Valley High School football team again and let them know that if their cheerleaders are ever unable to perform their duties, that Councilmember Abel would be happy to fill in. He could do a great job. So again, happy holidays, everybody, and thank you.
Let's see, Councilmember Droz, Mayor Pro Tem Droz, gosh, I'll get it one of these days.
First of all, I just want to thank Rusty and Rose and Robert. We appreciate all you've done through all the years. I can't believe it was 72 years between all three of you. So that's pretty incredible. And I'd like to thank the Planning Commission for all the hard work they do. I'd like to say that I think the snow play day was wonderful. I was only there a short time, but it really was incredible what I saw and how many people I saw there. And as far as, let's see, the mayor alumni, Mr. Dennison, Councilmember Dennison, thanks for all you've done. So it's really impressive. Every event you go to the whole year, and yeah, so that's that. You know, it's like me. I'm honored to be Mayor Pro Tem, but frightened next year if I'm elected. I'm not elected, chosen. So, but anyway, it's an honor to be selected as Mayor Pro Tem. And I just want to wish everyone a happy Christmas and a happy New Year, or whatever holiday you celebrate, and have a good holiday season.
Very good. Councilmember Dennis.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. First off, I just got to say I'm very proud of, one thing I always say about Robert is I think he attends more meetings than I do. So thank you for always being here for us here at this council to see what's going on, but also every day out in the streets. Yourself and Rusty and Rose have all set the bar very high. And one thing about a leader, I know all three of you are, the succession and the people that you bring in behind them and you teach them your values, and I'm very appreciative of that. So what you've done here is going to carry on for many years, and I think the rest of the staff is excited to be working with our new, the people we have in the new positions to take your spots. So thanks for that. You've left your fingerprints all over our town, and it'll last for decades to come. So thank you for all that. And I'd say the same thing to Rusty and Rose, but they probably want to be home and relax. So, and also very thankful that Assemblyman Wallace was able to come by and spend some time with us, and he actually mentioned a few things that have been a great concern to our community too. So at least he understands where we're at and what we're challenged with, and I'm glad that he was more than happy to be a partner in fighting these battles to get projects and things done. And the Trojans, the Yucca Valley Trojans, really, what else can you say? What a great journey they've had. That'll be something they'll carry with them for the rest of their life. And I'm so glad that I got to ring the bell. That was ding. Thank you, Merle, for breaking the ice on that one. Our planning. The planning department, Jared and Evan, thank you very much for bringing the ideas forward, and also the planning commission and all the work that's been done with staff, helping you guys to navigate that. And some of the comments that Councilmember Abel said is that one reason I really like working with this council is because we understand that everyone's a little bit different, and that's what makes us good. If we were all the same, there would really be no purpose to have 5 of us. But to listen to some of the concerns of others and staff understanding that they're going to be able to bring that back to us and work through that, I think that's the best part of it. So thank you for being on the team, and I'm appreciative that that's something we can do easily and always feel comfortable to do. I think that's about it, other than I just want to say, my family, we celebrate Christmas, and those that do, wish you a very Merry Christmas. But whatever the holiday is that you enjoy, that you find time with your family and your friends, reach out to those that can't be there when you are gone so often. But, and I want to try and make this another moment in time where we can really look and see more peace and love than some of the disruption that's going on in the world today. So with that, thank you very much for the opportunity to be the mayor, and I appreciate my council. Thank you for your comments. And Mayor Lombardo and Mayor Pro Tem Droz, I know we're in good hands, and we'll look forward to your leadership. So thanks.
Thank you. All right, I'll keep it brief. I just want to say thank you to Robert, Rusty, and Rose on the mentorship that they've provided to the upcoming leaders in their departments, and enjoy your retirement. It takes a little while to figure it out, but I'm sure you'll do it, and really enjoy it. There's lots out there to see, and you were telling about your buying a trailer and going on a travel kind of to see the parks and various odd museums. So it sounds like a great plan. Stick to it, enjoy it, be safe. Want to thank the Sheriff's Department for the hard work and keeping us safe all the time, but especially now during the holiday season. We appreciate your efforts. It's a dangerous job out there, so be careful. And we want to thank the activities. All the snow stuff was awesome. I missed the tree lighting. I always enjoy that, but I was out of the area at the time. And the snow thing was incredible, though. I really like the idea of more snow. And my only suggestion would be to get the defensive line of the Yucca Valley football team to act as the barrier to the people coming down those slides, because those kids were flying. They almost missed them a few times, and it was like, woo! But they did an excellent job. You have wonderful staff that are very happy and good with the kids, and our youth commission was out there as well, right? Very proud of those people. Good job. Proud of the whole town. We've got a pretty good functioning thing. What else here? I think I'll keep it brief. Good night. The next meeting of the next regular meeting of December 19th and January 2nd of 2024 have been canceled due to lack of a quorum. I guess we're all going to be partying for Christmas, right? The next regular meeting of the town of Yucca Valley will be held on Tuesday, January 16th, 2024 at 6 p.m. here in the Yucca Valley Community Center Yucca Room. So until then, adieu.